Warning, the following podcast contains adult language, themes, and situations. Also, the film we're about to talk about is going to be spoiled thoroughly. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy this show.
One of our favorite things about doing this show is that we get to talk about the incredible hidden gems of Nicolas Cage's career that most audiences have never heard of. And there's possibly no better example of that than a small-budget, indie post-western neo-noir film from 1993 that, despite being Nick's highest-rated film on Rotten Tomatoes, has been largely forgotten. So hop in the car, light a cigarette, and ride along with us as we examine the little masterpiece that is Red Rock West.
Okay, let's run.
I'm like a prickly pear.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole! Porker! How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? Have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?
Welcome to One Cage at a Time, the show where we break down every single Nicolas Cage movie, one film at a time. Here are your hosts, Patrick, Vince, and Nigel.
A down-on-his-luck ex-Marine goes in search of work in the Podunk town of Red Rock, Wyoming, only to be mistaken as a hitman sent to kill a man's wife. What follows is a tale of desperation, betrayal, sex, and of course, murder.
Of course?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to go with that southern accent like Nick.
Oh, yeah.
His
proto Con Air accent.
He's from Texas.
Let's see who's joining Nick on this adventure.
Red Rock West stars one of the greatest actors to ever live, and an absolute treat anytime he's on screen, Dennis Hopper, Twin Peaks star and bombshell Lara Flynn Boyle, legendary country singer Dwight Yoakam, an amazing character actor who seemed to show up in everything in the 80s and 90s, JT Walsh, and of course, a man who knows how to get himself into sticky situations, Academy Award-winning actor Nicolas Kim Coppola, better known as Nicolas Cage.
Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
Red Rock West was released on June 16th, 1993 in France, I'm assuming at the Cannes Film Festival, but then was released April 8th, 1994 in the U.S., almost a year delay due to lukewarm test screenings. And it was denied entrance to Sundance because it was, quote, not a film festival film. I'm like, this is definitely a film festival style film.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't really understand that.
Monday to be 30 years since it was released in the States. April 8th.
Say what?
I said Monday will be 30 years since it's been released in the States. Crazy coincidence.
Yeah, that is a weird coincidence.
Yeah,
I didn't even think
odd.
about that. Maybe they'll do a 30th anniversary Red Rock West.
I doubt it.
Since
Yeah, you can't find this thing
remembers
anywhere.
You can't find this thing anywhere.
It's not on streaming. It's out of print.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Although we did, after we did Vampire's Kiss, they did do a re-release of those on Blu-ray.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
You're
Maybe
welcome,
it's the
America.
One Cage effect.
It's really sad because it has we'll get to it in a second here, but it has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I believe there are like 3 somewhat new reviews of it that brought it up to a 98%. Before, I feel like when I was researching, when we were doing our Pig episode, we talked about all the other 90% that Cage had gotten over his career. And I feel like Red Rock West was like a 93% at that point. So, yeah, that's kind of weird that you can like the movie can get higher as time goes on. Maybe that'll happen with, I don't know, Willy's Wonderland. I don't know. One of the other masterpieces we've done.
I wish I would have looked at the score after Five Nights at Freddy came out and people started comparing the two films. It became a meme. I wonder if that saw a bump in positive reviews for the film.
I mean, we could go back and watch our episode, see what the Rotten Tomato score was at that point versus what it is now.
Yeah. If only there was a way we could go back and have that tracked.
It had a budget of $7 million, but only made $2.5 million.
Oof.
I feel like it was a pretty limited release. I don't feel like it got like a huge wide release. But yeah, that's not good. And I feel like a lot of times like these movies that are more kind of artsy, you know, like Blade Runner and stuff like that, that aren't really like go to the movie theater movies, kind of suffer because of this, because I feel like it's a really good movie that more people should be exposed to, but it's not going to because they're like, well, nobody wanted to see it in the first place, so we'll just never put it out on any physical media from here on out.
Yeah.
I don't think it has a Blu-ray. Pretty sure it's
the
not.
only Blu-rays I could find were like European,
Oh.
like German dubbed or English dubbed German ones, but those are all used on eBay. So yeah.
I got a used
limited
copy
release.
from, I think, from the mid-90s on DVD.
Dang.
And I think I got it on eBay or something. So it's pretty hard to find. You know, if you're just, you know, like a buddy of mine was asking me what movie we were doing next, and I was like, Red Rock West. And he's like, what the hell is that? And I was like, well, I would show you, but there's no place to go watch it.
Yeah.
This
It's like
was
even
directed-
harder to see than a Killing Time. Or Time
Yeah.
to Kill, because
Yeah,
at
that's
least that's
weird.
on YouTube. Someone's dumped it on YouTube because there's presumably
Yeah.
no copyright on it. Nobody cares. I'm guessing it's probably similar with Red Rock West. It's like it's just lapsed and no one picked it up and no one cares
Yeah.
to distribute it again.
It's sad because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Directed by John Dahl, who seemed to mostly make these kinds of weird neo-noir small budget films. Best known for Rounders, though, with Matt Damon and Ed Norton.
Oh, wow.
He has kind of recently switched over to doing mostly like guest directing appearances on TV shows. Has done a ton of television work, like he did a few episodes of Californication, Dexter, Battlestar Galactica, directed some Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, Ray Donovan, Jessica Jones, etc. So he's kind of a director for hire at this point. This was actually co-written by John Dahl and his brother Rick Dahl. Not a ton of credits for either of them as writers, though, after this film, for whatever reason. I mean, I guess you lost the studio $5 million, so they're not going to give you a chance to write again. But, you know, you would think that somebody who would have taken a critical eye to the film would have been like, yeah, I want him to write my next film, or those brothers to write my next film. But
Yeah.
not so much. Shot by Mark Rashevsky, who unfortunately passed away very young at 52, which I noticed a theme in this film is like JT Walsh also died at like 54.
Dang.
There's a lot of people who like died super young for some reason, which we'll actually get to when the guy who did the music died at 56.
Dang.
His production is cursed.
Yeah.
Mark Rashevsky actually did exactly what like every cinematographer we have talked about on this show did. He started out in music videos. Shot videos for Def Leppard, Paula Abdul, Judas Priest, U2, Whitney Houston, Ice Cube. All along the gambit there. But he is probably best known, even with his film work thrown in there, he's probably best known for the Santana featuring Rob Thomas video for Smooth, which was played nonstop on repeat for like 3 years. I swear to God. Also directed the music video for Free Your Mind by En Vogue, which was also pretty on repeat there for a while. And shot The Delicate Sound of Thunder for Pink Floyd, which was like their big, I think, early 90s concert film that they put out.
That explains that shot of lightning and thunder.
This has a very like David Lynch feel to it.
Yeah.
It does. It
But
does.
less weird. But yeah, it
Yeah.
has a lot of hallmarks of David Lynch.
It did remind me a lot of Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
That same feel, yeah.
Yeah, use the same horse clock radio thing.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Yeah, it's just a thing in Wyoming. And
Nick's like,
I
I got
guess,
a prop we can use. I took it from another.
I was able to
film."
keep this from my last film. This was edited by Scott Chestnut, who is still working and has worked on almost every single John Dahl film, including most of his music videos. Not a whole lot of like movie credits that I recognized, but yeah, still working. And then music by William Olvis, who, like I said, died at 56, which is crazy. 3 principal members of the cast dying in their early to mid 50s. That's young.
Yeah, it's really young.
He did all the music for Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, the entire series, and a ton of made-for-TV movies. I mean, I like the music in this, so
Yeah, the music was good. I thought it fit
Music
the
was
film
good.
really well.
yeah, I feel like it all fit together really well. And it's nice and short. It's only like 98 minutes.
Yes, they kept it nice and tight, which I appreciated because it could have
Yeah.
gone off the rails real quick.
Nope.
You
Yep.
could have added a lot to this that would have been unnecessary, but I feel like it's just kind of perfect length.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pacing was great.
Yeah,
It
the
was just
pacing worked really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ratings. This has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, the highest rated film that we have ever talked about. But, you know, this is a weird situation where, like remember a couple years ago, they found an old review of Citizen Kane that brought it down from 100% to like 99 or something like that. I feel like that's what's going on here is like they added extra reviews. But it's 7.5 out of 10 on 41 reviews, which is actually a pretty good sample size, especially for the 90s.
Yeah.
Which I did the math, and that would be 40 out of the 41 gave it a 6 or above. So that's pretty high praise for a movie that lost money and got lukewarm testing and
Yeah.
wasn't allowed in a film festival.
And wasn't released in the U.S. for a year because of the reviews or reception.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. We've come across a lot of these like kind of weird anomalies, almost like somebody at the studio didn't like the movie or didn't like the director or something, and just was
That's
like,
possible.
nah, let's just shut it down and
Or as Nigel
put
likes
that
to
on the
point
scrap
out,
heap.
Hollywood accounting.
Yeah. I mean, $7 million budget, $2.5 million at the box office. You know, you're pretty far in the red at that point. I could see why some exec would just be like, yeah, throw that thing in the fucking garbage and let's never talk about it again. Audience score was a 75%, so it's right on par with the Rotten Tomatoes 7.5 out of 10. You know, I guess that's fair. That's about what I feel like we're probably going to give it is about, you know, 7 or 8. But 75% from the audience. Metacritic, 79%. IMDb is 7 out of 10. And then, of course, it did not get a cinema score.
It must just be like people who really have to go out of their way to try and watch this movie. So they're probably, you know,
more open to it, yeah.
Yeah. Cinephiles, for lack of a better word. So they might be taking a more positive critical eye of it.
There's a lot of these Cage movies, especially late 80s, early 90s. When I was a kid, my dad had Cinemax, and almost every one of these old Cage movies would show up on Cinemax at some point. And I know that's where I first saw it way back when. It's the only reason I even knew about the movie was because I had seen it, you know, late night on a movie channel of some sort. It's kind of sad that those don't really exist anymore. It's just sort of streaming, and you just choose your own. You don't see a preview for something and go, oh, that looks cool, and then you just watch it later on Cinemax or something.
Yeah.
How about a Coppola quick facts?
Before Nicolas Cage was cast, Dennis Hopper suggested that John Dahl should consider Chris Christopherson a good friend of Hopper from that he worked with in the last movie. That was the name of the movie. The last movie. That one movie, remember?
Why would that be the title?
Christopherson was at a low point in his career at the time, mainly appearing as the lead in made-for-TV movies, but he had a packed schedule and declined without even reading the script. I think I understand why Chris Christopherson's career was at a low point.
Yeah.
That would
Well,
have.
I don't think this would have
really
helped it,
weird. Yeah,
But
I feel like I mean, he would have been fine, I guess, but
Yeah,
like it
I
would have
get
been
that, okay.
weird, more like a grizzled cowboy
yeah,
type of
it
feel
would have
to
felt even more like a Western.
Yeah,
than
definitely.
it did, which was pretty well. It felt pretty well close to a Western.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it would have changed that vibe to be even more Western-esque.
He would have sang a song with Dwight Yoakam at some point. It's so funny that Dwight Yoakam is just randomly in here, and
Yeah,
he's since gone on to be kind
he's
of
done
more
other
of a-
acting.
Yeah,
Stuff, so.
he's done a lot like bigger roles than this, but I guess this was pretty early on when he was actually like still a country star. Mm-hmm. Like he's mostly just playing his hits now when he goes out and does shows. I don't know if you guys watched what was that last Clint Eastwood movie?
I didn't watch it.
Cry Macho.
Cry Macho, yeah.
There's this scene where Dwight Yoakam and Clint Eastwood are talking back and forth, and Dwight Yoakam is like 70 years old and Clint Eastwood is like 90, and it's like Clint Eastwood is like, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth if you talk about me like that again, or something like that. And it's like a stiff breeze could blow through this room and knock both of these guys over.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying it. Nicolas Cage largely took the part due to the recommendations of his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, who is a outspoken fan of John Dahl's first film, Kill Me Again, with Val Kilmer, which I have never heard of. Is it just like
This is
all of John
Dahl
Dahl's
curse.
movies just get
They're all underrated movies that no one's ever watched
maybe
or unheard of or heard of.
Obviously,
I've never heard of that movie.
Insider favorite, apparently.
Yeah,
His uncle.
a director's director.
Yeah, director. There you go. Yeah.
It always seems that way, where it's like something super obscure is what the artsy
The filmmakers really like.
filmmakers really love, you know.
Yeah.
Like Nicolas Cage's obsession with German noir.
Yeah. I just think it's funny too that after working with him on Peggy Sue Got Married, he was like, "Oh yeah, you should work with my nephew. He's great."
You might
He'll be
try and
awesome.
do a Gumby thing, but you know, just roll with it.
Make him the leading role. It'll be awesome.
Just don't watch this film him and his brother are making called Deadfall. Just don't watch that. Watch it after. Watch it after you guys shoot the film.
Yeah, you know, you'll appreciate the nuances of his performance.
I did think about Deadfall at the end of this movie.
Me too.
The money. All he had left was the memories.
Well, not him.
They're worth more than any score.
I guess he had like $5,000.
He had the monies.
He did, yeah.
He left her with the memories. And the baby.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh my God, we're gonna get Red Rock West 2, just like Lord of War 2.
Or Face Off too.
30-year-old son.
Grown up AIDS baby. Nicolas Cage really wanted to do this movie, but director John Dahl and his brother Rick wanted to start shooting in September of 1991, and Cage would not be available until later that December. But eventually, Dahl accommodated and reworked the shooting schedule for Cage, which is, I mean, that's a huge thing to be like, well, can't be Chris Christopherson, but let's get Cage in here, and I'll delay shooting for, 3 months?
Yeah.
It's like you can't even shoot other stuff much because he's in pretty much every scene. So
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there's very little they could have shot without Cage on set. Yeah.
Originally, director John Dahl and Dennis Hopper wanted Dennis Hopper to play Wayne, the bartender. But Hopper insisted on playing Lyle from Dallas. Hopper eventually convinced the producers, who were thrilled with the results, but probably not thrilled with the box office after.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Dennis Hopper has played this character like 30 different times.
Dennis Hopper really just wanted to play Dennis Hopper, and the character that most matched that was Lyle from Dallas.
I kind of wish he would have played Wayne instead. I think it would have been. I think it would have been better because it just kept pulling me out of the film. I was like, oh, he's just being himself in every.
He's just he's just Dennis Hopper,
Which
is great. Right. But I feel like JT Walsh really brought a grounded sense to Wayne's character. I think he could have been very menacing and scary as Lyle from Dallas, but like, I don't know if I would have bought him being the like kind of grounded character. Dennis Hopper being the grounded character against JT Walsh's maniac.
Yep. Yeah, like really, this is the guy that was able to lie low in some town with all this money.
This over the top guy, this big personality.
Yeah. Don't piss on the seat.
It's unlucky.
It's unlucky. Costume designer Terry Dresbach bought a lot of Western attire for the film and was absolutely thrilled when Dennis Hopper chose the cheesy-looking black suit that he wears in the film, because she was able to buy about 17 of them for the cost of $175.
It did look like something that it did remind me of, like, this is what a poor cowboy would buy, thinking that this is what rich cowboys wear. And I was like, I wonder if that's intentional.
He's like going for this is what a cowboy hitman would look like. $175 for 17 suits.
$10 a pop.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Small portions of this Wyoming film were shot on location in Montana, which is where writer and director John Dahl and his brother are from. But the majority of the scenes are shot in Arizona, which is much more famous for having red rocks than Wyoming. I don't believe that there is a Red Rock, Wyoming. I feel like I looked it up and it was fictional just for this film. The film was originally set to be released by Triumph Pictures, but after the film initially bombed at the box office, the company did not see this film as a moneymaker and backed out of its release agreement. I did not know you could do that.
Yeah, that's seems like something you'd want to put down in the contract.
Yeah, no backing out.
Yeah,
after the box office comes in. I mean, it's a gamble making a film.
Yeah,
and you basically were like, I didn't like the cards that I got, so I'm just gonna back off the table and walk away. The film would sit on the shelf for almost a year and eventually came to an agreement with Columbia TriStar Home Video for the video and cable rights. Then a movie theater owner in San Francisco asked for the film to be shown in his theater, and Columbia TriStar agreed, and it actually made a ton of money before appearing on cable. I think that's where most of the box office came from, was this one
showing in
San Francisco. The film would eventually be shown at the 1993 Toronto Film Festival, where it received great reviews and still did not get a distribution deal with any major studio, but still was very successful, supposedly, which this fact kind of flies in the face of it being a $2.5 million box office bomb. This film was one of the most successful independent films to be released in the 1990s, and this was due because the film was doing so well at small second-run movie theaters in cities like San Francisco and New York City, which were selling out their screenings despite the fact that the film was already on home video and appearing on cable.
Dang.
Even when the theaters were selling out, people who couldn't get into the screenings went to their local video store to rent the film or watch it on cable when it was shown. The film's success still surprised even director John Dahl. That's not a fucking sentence. The film's success still Anyways, John Dahl was really happy that it made money.
Wow.
Even though it
So
wasn't
imagine if it had
wide.
actually gotten a wide theatrical release. Like,
I feel like it would have done well.
went
I mean,
pretty well.
Yeah, I feel
Dennis-
Like, it was making that much money in the most obtuse way possible, and people were going out of their way to try and
Yeah,
see it in
yeah.
these little indie theaters and stuff, and then go rent it. It definitely would have made more than $5 million if you put it
Yeah.
out on
kind of like
wide
Pig
release.
was like, it got really great reviews, and then suddenly it was in a bunch of theaters, and it did make some money. I don't think it was initially intended to make very much money. I think they expected it was going to make like $250,000 or something like that in a
and then
limited
sell it to
release.
streaming or something.
Yeah.
But then because of the reviews, they put it out in theaters, and it made like $3.5 million or something like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel
Word
like,
of mouth.
I feel like this movie was perfect for the time it came out. It reminds me so much of those early 90s movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm shocked that they didn't put it out in a wider release, especially after it had all this ground momentum on a smaller scale.
How did Wild at Heart do again?
Not
Like
great.
box office wise?
Yeah.
Because I
think it was
gotta
like-
think it was, it would at least make that much.
I feel like it was like 14 million. I could look it up real quick. But yeah, I feel like these kind of art house movies, even back then, didn't make tons of money. Wild at Heart, 14.6 million. I feel like it had a budget of about the same as this, like 7 million or something.
Could have been a producer situation where they were just trying to bury it and then get a write off of their
Yeah.
investment and
Yeah.
not release it. But it's a shame. I
which
think if they
we've-
put it out, maybe we'd be living in a world where this was available to view on streaming platforms, and you could buy a copy of it and actually watch it, and most people would actually know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super sad.
It's time for the main event. Here comes the breakdown. Act 1, the setup.
Our film begins with some sexy ass feet sticking out of a Cadillac on the side of a deserted highway. We see Nick's character, Michael, which I think might be the fastest we've ever gotten Nick Cage in one of these movies.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just like opening shot. He's right there. Anyway, Michael.
Those feet dangling out of the
Yeah.
door. Yeah.
If you're a Nick Cage fan with a foot fetish like I am, this is a great way to get into that movie. Michael
I'm
struggles.
hooked already.
Michael struggles to straighten out his knee before putting on some sort of a brace, and then we see him shaved using water from a cow's piss trough or something in the middle of a field.
Ugh.
It's also revealed in this shot via a tattoo that Michael was in the Marines and has the abs and broad shoulders of a Roman god. It's pretty jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in case you weren't fapping yet, we next see him do some one-handed push-ups on the road and then get dressed up all spiffy-like in a cowboy button-down before heading off to a job interview with Daniel Plainview at some sort of oil drilling operation in the middle of bumfuck Wyoming.
He's an oil man.
Michael is understandably upset when he's handed a job application since his buddy assured him he already had this job. And when the foreman finds out about Mike's injured leg, he quickly rejects him, leaving Michael jobless in a place with like one job per 1,000 miles. I think he said he drove like 1,800 miles to get there or something, living in his car.
From Texas.
Michael's buddy is upset that Michael told the boss about his injured leg, but we find out right away what a stand-up guy Mike is, since not telling the boss straight away about his leg wouldn't be right. Jim, Mike's
That's
buddy,
pretty
asks...
close. That's pretty
his
spot
accent,
on.
yeah.
Cage's accent.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the same accent he used for Joe when he was supposed to be from Texas, or if he got a little better in those 20 some odd years.
Yeah, he got better down the road.
Yeah,
It did sound like his warm-up act for his Con Air accent when he was from Tennessee or whatever. Jim, Mike's buddy, asks what the hell Michael is going to do now, and Michael says, I don't know, maybe I'll rob a bank.
I don't know. Maybe I'll rob a bank.
Oh, that's right. He's from Alabama and Con Air.
Yeah.
Jim offers to spot Michael a few bucks, but Michael pridefully says he'll be all right before revealing a few minutes from now that he only has like 38 cents to his name. Michael drives away, and Nick channels Jack Nicholson from 5 Easy Pieces like he did in Color Out of Space and punches the roof of the car a few times before spotting with a near-empty fuel gauge and growling to himself.
Trying to strand me, man?
Well, Michael pulls into a charming, dilapidated Lynchian gas station. It really felt like.
Yeah.
Just needed an old guy with a radio snapping his fingers, sitting outside.
It reminded me of in the movie U-Turn, Billy Bob Thornton works at this fucking horrible gas station in the middle of Arizona somewhere. It really reminds me of that, if you've seen that movie. A shithole. Like, doesn't look like anybody actually works there.
It doesn't look
Just
like
abandoned.
it's even open. It's just, but they sell ice.
They do.
There's a sign that says they sell ice there. No one seems to work at it, and once he gets inside, he spots a stack of cash behind the counter in an open lockbox, along with a gun. He contemplates taking it, but stops himself because, like we said, he's a stand-up guy, not a stick-up guy. Then he uses his last $5 to put some gas in the car. Nowadays, you get like a thimble full of gas for $5. I think you can get most of a gallon. Get you about 15 miles. He tells the hearing aid sporting attendant that he's looking for work in a drilling crew, and the guy suggests he try Red Rock, which is about 50 miles down the road. And next we see him arriving in Red Rock, so apparently he can get at least 50 miles on $5 worth of gas in 1993.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I guess the reason that he has a hearing aid is to explain away why he didn't answer when Cage was like yelling at him, yelling for him.
I guess.
It was confusing. Felt like, like that scene with Anton Chigurh when in No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah.
I just live behind the place.
Yeah.
I was back there adjusting my hearing aid.
Brendo. Well, Red Rock has about 8 people living in it, so I'm sure this bustling metropolis is the perfect place to look for work. Michael pops open an old coffee can and pulls out a couple nickels before heading into a bar to do some day drinking, or to have a cup of coffee at a bar with 10 cents. I don't know.
I feel like it used to actually be like 10 cents for
Yeah, probably.
coffee.
I mean, later he orders like a whiskey and a beer, and it was like $1.50 at one of the bars. The bartender, Wayne, played by the amazing JT Walsh, spots Michael's Texas license plates and immediately assumes Michael's a guy named Lyle who was supposed to be there last Friday. Michael plays along when Wayne asks him if he's there for the job, since this guy is more desperate than P. Diddy's backup dancer.
God damn it. Oh, God. Here we go.
They head to a back office where Wayne drops a $5,000 stack of hundreds in front of Michael and says he'll have the other $5,000 when the job's done. It's like, what? 1,000 tanks of gas?
I feel like it's like this guy is not super sharp if he just immediately assumed anybody who pulled up at this bar with Texas license plates is this fucking person who's come to murder his wife.
It's like, funny because a lot of this is like
a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, a lot of this movie is like one of those things where like this plot couldn't happen now because cell phones exist.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. This is a very pre-cell phone, pre-internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where all this would be solved if you could have just placed a quick phone call, which, never mind. I'll save that for later.
Or a text. It's like,
I was thinking, you could have
it,
or you could have a very, at least have a little bit of a safety net, like ask if he's like Gerald from Texas. And when he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Gerald. Like, yeah, but get the fuck out of here. You're not who I'm looking for. Don't just give him the name of the guy, feed him everything.
As much as I like this movie, it relies really heavily on coincidences.
Yeah.
And like just happenstance. Like he just happens to fall in front of the car of the hitman. And yeah. Stuff like that. There's a lot of that.
Wayne hands Michael a picture of Donna from Twin Peaks. Lara Flynn Boyle, a.k.a. Suzanne, which is Wayne's wife. Wayne says he'll be riding out all day, or she'll be out riding all day, so Michael can sneak into the house and make it look like a burglary gone wrong. Michael quickly realizes he's in over his head, but isn't about to walk away from $5,000, especially since there's no longer a moral quandary because this dude's trying to kill his wife or something. Yes, I don't know. I think you're still trying to like, is this guy going to do it? Try to guess, because they do all these setup shots of like he has the opportunity to do the wrong thing a bunch of times in the beginning of the movie and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Including going to check out the wife instead of just taking the $5,000 and leaving.
I know that's another thing. This movie could have ended in 5 minutes if he would have just took the cash and ran.
It's also
made
and leave.
What?
Just take it and leave. I don't know. I mean,
I think
he had the moral obligation to tell her that her husband was trying to kill her.
And it kind of works out for him for a little bit, So
until he runs over the dude in the road.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
So the movie can happen.
Yeah, exactly. But he would have been. He was super happy running out of Red Rock with $10,000. He'd already sent we'll get to it, but he'd already sent a letter, and like he was in the clear. Like she knew that he was after her, and he would have been scot free. $10,000. He could have driven back to Texas and.
But distracted driving is a real big problem.
It is.
Yeah,
it's the PSA for that. Slow down when visibility's poor. It's made clear in this scene Wayne's at least somewhat ashamed or regrets that he's having his wife, Suzanne, killed. Cut off the Lara Flynn Boyle spigot, I guess. A little shaken up about it. Wouldn't you want access to Lara? Never mind.
Oh my, yeah. Let's stay on target.
Well, we cut to Michael parked on a dirt road, counting the money, and we see that he has a gun and binoculars in his glove box. So did he go buy a gun and binoculars, or does he just seem to be living out of his car and happen to have those things? The gun, I guess, makes sense.
Yeah.
Binoculars is kind of weird for him to have.
Hunting?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he was a Marine spotter or something.
It's just really creepy that he would be this drifter who's like looking for work across the country, driving around with a pair of binoculars and a gun in the car.
How better to spot work? And when you're drifting, you need protection.
True.
That's true.
Well, Michael watches Suzanne from a distance as she looks around suspiciously while riding to a dusty old trailer in the middle of nowhere, and we see some hunky dude dressed like Cameron Poe from Con Air is waiting for her. They head inside the knock boots in the romantic confines that only a wooded panel 80s single-wide trailer can provide.
Just like in Raising Arizona. I mean, that was the most romantic of settings.
This movie just felt like it was made for us because it has like even though it was made in '93, it just has like all these nods to all these films we've seen.
Some time passes and we see Suzanne ride back to presumably she and Wayne's home. Inside, she doesn't even put down her keys before saying, "Drink, I'm having one," to herself, while we see Michael creepily sitting in the pass-out chair. I mean, sitting in the corner.
In his cuck chair.
In the cuck chair. We see him helping himself to some peanuts or pecans or something before telling her that her husband wants her dead, all while holding a gun. Maybe not the best way to do
why is he holding the gun? If he's just there to warn her, then why sit there in the corner in the dark with a gun?
I guess
like how does she know that she doesn't have a gun and could try to shoot him when she notices him?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Maybe she's already on to Wayne and she packs a gun with her everywhere she goes, and then he just gets blasted in that scene.
Tearfully, she asks if this is a joke, and he says, "Afraid not. He paid me to do it," before putting the $5,000 in a house key Wayne gave him on the counter. She asks him what he plans to do, and he says, "I don't know. I hate to see an innocent woman get hurt, and that's an awful lot of money." Well, he asked if she wants some peanuts, and she offers him a drink. He says, "You seem to be taking this a lot better than I thought you would," to which she says, "Have you ever been married?" Zing! But really, who hasn't tried to kill their spouse?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Once a week.
Always on lookout for drifters to maybe you can get in on a job to take care of it for you. "Oh, honey, I got to stay in San Francisco late tonight because there's a snowstorm or something."
or something.
I met this hunky dude on the road, and I was thinking he could either fuck you or he could
Fix the
kill
fence.
you. I don't know. He could fix the fence for you a little bit.
Suzanne says, suppose I double his offer and you do something for me, which of course means she wants him to kill Wayne instead. Back in the car, we see Michael put his gun and $10,000 in the passenger seat and heads off, having played both these lunatics like a fiddle. He grabs himself some gas and then goes on the ultimate snack run at a gas station, since presumably he's been living off roadkill he found along Wyoming roads for the last week. I just want to quickly break down what he bought, because it's a hilarious mismatch of stuff. Well, from what we can see, he bought some oil, 2 boxes of wheat thins, a bag of Fritos and Doritos, a loaf of bread, 2 sixers of beer, a big hunk bar, and a carton of cigarettes, which, with the gas, totaled up to $119.78, or in today's money, $284.40. Gas aside, can you imagine buying $300 worth of stuff at a Chevron?
Yeah.
Even the gas station attendant can't believe it.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude?
It's like, that's $119.
Who eats big hunks?
Just there's a safe word. There's a grocery store right over there. You can just
It's a Ralph's, like right there, man.
So you got panties on your head?
Yeah, he's looking for Huggies too. Well, we see him in his car writing a letter to the sheriff of Red Rock explaining this whole fiasco, while cutting to Wayne calling home and being shocked to find out that his wife is still alive. He just hangs up on her. Like, way to be super suspicious.
Oh, wrong number.
She answers, oh.
Couldn't have just been like, hey, honey, I'm just seeing how writing went today.
Yeah. Which would also give him an alibi if he, for whatever reason this hit still hadn't gone off. He could have been like, the phone records would show that he called home and was like, hey, I'm still working late or something.
Yeah.
Michael pops the letter in the mailbox and prepares to blow Red Rock for good with $10,000 in his pocket. But wouldn't you know it, a storm starts as he's happily driving away, causing Michael to accidentally plow into a guy who was broken down alongside the road.
That's the film I wanted to see. Brokeback Cage.
I just slipped. Sweat.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Michael contemplates driving off, but once again his good nature won't let him, so he stashes his money in the glove box and takes the guy to a hospital. As luck would have it, though, this guy just so happens to be the ranch hand hunk that Suzanne was banging 2 scenes ago.
See, it's a lot of coincidences.
Yeah. At the hospital, Michael tries to bolt, but of course he's being watched since he admitted to hitting this guy with his car. When he finally gets a chance to run, he's stopped by a doctor and a couple sheriff's deputies, one with floppy 90s hair and a guy who looks like he spends his weekends cucking it up while watching his wife in the corner.
He definitely has a crocodile outfit.
I don't know what it was about that guy's look and mustache and the toothpick in his mouth in every scene. It just seemed like you'd be like, yeah, fuck her. Yeah.
It's okay. She's my cousin. Get in there. We like to keep it in the family, boy.
Michael asks if there's a problem, and they explain that the guy he hit with his car had 2 bullets in his stomach. They're dealing with an attempted murder. Sheriff pulls up, and wouldn't you fucking know it, Wayne is not only the owner of the finest dive bar in town, but he's also the sheriff of Red Rock County.
Womp womp.
Wah, wah.
Michael is understandably shocked when he sees Wayne, and Wayne is shocked to find out the guy he thought was Lyle from Dallas is actually Michael Williams from the Cadillac outside. So, since that's where he lives. One of the deputies asks why Wayne wants to hold Michael, since makes no sense that he'd shoot a guy and then bring him into the hospital. But Wayne insists they impound Michael's car while Wayne takes him down to the station. Wayne handcuffs Michael to the passenger door of his sheriff's Bronco and on the road asks him what the hell's going on. Michael admits to pretending he was Lyle to get a job, not knowing what he was getting into, and promises to give back the money and leave town. But Wayne decides that's not good enough and careens his Bronco through a fence and down a hill.
Just like
What
OJ.
was the
I think he was trying to make it look like it was an escape attempt.
Yeah, there
like
was
he
a
tried to-
struggle. Yeah, that's what I took it.
He puts the key on the handcuffs, key to the handcuffs on the dash, which again, I don't know why he, I mean, I guess, to get him to reach for it.
Yeah,
while he was
reach.
reaching.
He reached for the key and tried to get out.
Yeah. And when Michael goes to unlock him, Wayne reaches for his gun. Michael kicks Wayne in the face and jumps out of the car, still handcuffed to the door. Wayne tries to shoot Michael, but manages to get the cuffs unlocked just in time to kick the door closed, knocking the gun out of Wayne's hands. Michael takes the gun and hoofs it while Wayne gives chase with a rifle, and they shoot at each other a few times before Michael takes off through the woods, but his bum knee gives out and he has to hop for a bit. Wayne shoots at Michael again, causing Michael to duck down and fall down a hill, losing the gun in the process. And the alligator comes out and grabs Wayne, death rolls him. Now, Michael rolls down the hill and lands directly in front of a car on the road down below that just so happens to be owned by, wouldn't you fucking know it, Lyle from Dallas, who almost splatters Michael's head in his grill, but manages to stop just in the nick of time.
Act 2. It's about time we had some conflict, wouldn't you say?
Lyle from Dallas, played by the incredible Dennis Hopper, greets the guy he almost turned into hamburger by saying,
"What the fuck are you doing?"
Michael, wide-eyed, stares at the bumper, then says his car broke down and asks Lyle for a ride. You guys wouldn't believe this, but it turns out Lyle is already headed to Red Rock to a place called Wayne's Bar. I think that's the name of the bar, right?
What a coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick fact. John Dahl named Dennis Hopper's character Lyle from Dallas after the director's first guitar, a Lyle guitar. It's kind of similar how the Nigel named his first son Obi-Wan Luke Kobe after his two favorite Star Wars characters and his all-time favorite NBA player.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Obi-Wan Kobe.
Yeah, there are probably a decent number of children whose middle name is Kobe.
Yeah.
Now,
There's a player who's playing in the NBA right now who's actually named Kobe. I don't know if it was inspired by, because Kobe's name was inspired by Kobe steak.
really?
Literally where
Really?
it came
Beef?
from. Yep.
Wow. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Oh my God. Which
That's
is funny because he
hilarious.
turned up in ground beef
Oh,
at the end.
my God.
Jesus
God
Christ.
damn.
I've seen those autopsy illustrations.
Fucking A.
Anyway,
All right, moving on.
up on the ridge, Wayne finds his pistol and sees Michael get a ride from someone and figures he's long gone since he has no idea what Lyle from Dallas looks like. In the car, Lyle asks Michael how he banged up his knee, and it turns out they both served in the Marines. Michael injured his knee in some famous truck bombing accident. I think it was supposed to be the barracks, the Marine barracks bombing in Lebanon back in the 80s, I think is what he was saying.
I think so. Yeah.
Involved a guy named Benier.
I'm sorry, what was that, Michael? You like this band 9 Inch Nails? Anyway, all the Marine jerking back and forth leads Lyle to insist to buy Michael a beer. Michael quickly realizes where they're headed, and Michael tries his best to talk Lyle out of it, but eventually he relents to peer pressure and decides to head to his death. Or I mean, to the bar run by the guy that's, trying to kill him. Yeah, that was a weird scene. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it's like there should be no implication of danger between Michael and Lyle, yet there's like that tension. And we as the audience assume it's the assassin because they showed the plates.
Yeah. Texas. I think it's just, you never know what's going to happen in the movie, and there's basically constant tension being ratcheted up.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things I liked about it. That's why I felt like pacing was great, because it always felt like some twist was coming, and you never knew how things were going to get worse, but they always get worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's like,
did
I wouldn't want to be trapped in a car with Dennis Hopper.
I think that's where the real tension came from.
Yeah.
Young Nick
But he
was like,
also
"Fuck."
almost ran him over like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah,
Right.
Michael and Lyle share a couple shots of whiskey because they're real men. And when Lyle asks where Wayne is, Michael looks shocked and decides to head to the bathroom to rub one out real quick. Well, no, he goes there to think things over, but not before Dennis Hopper delivers a very Dennis Hopper line.
Yeah, well, don't piss on the seat, even if they did. It's not lucky.
I was like, what? I don't think that was in the script, but okay.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of what he says
is very Dennis Hopper.
Yes, it does.
I wish he would have said, I got to go make a number 2. It's, what was it? I just say ordering a number 3 because I got to go make a number 2. Michael would have said that. It would have been amazing.
I'm telling you, this movie just like my brain was firing off of references to all these other Cage movies, and I'm like, this is so weird because this movie is shot or came out in 93, 94. Yeah, we could tie it.
It's weird watching them in the weird order that we just randomly watch movies in because it's like, I feel like this wouldn't happen as much maybe if it was chronological until they got to the later movies, but because we're just watching them all
when he's
in a random order, there's definitely some weird parallels.
Yeah, like when he's sitting in the office with Wayne and he's asking him to kill his wife, I just kept thinking, put it on the rack. Anyways,
this was I think this was very shortly before leaving Las Vegas, so this was kind of like right before he really took off. It was kind of like, he had been kind of the indie darling of like Raising Arizona, Moonstruck, stuff like that, and then right after this he did the Leaving Las Vegas, which kind of pushed him into the mainstream.
In the bathroom, Michael kicks a garbage can and busts a light in frustration, then checks outside the door, only to find Wayne talking to Lyle at the bar. Michael finds a window in the bathroom and climbs out seconds before Lyle and Wayne bust in with guns. They head outside to look for him, but we dolly up to see Michael is on the roof of the bar. He spots a truck and decides to tightrope walk to it using a 2x4. And apparently the driver had enough guitars, Cadillacs, and hillbilly music at the Red Rock bar, and he hops into the cab without noticing a 6'2" guy on top of his freaking roof. I also love that shot of
It's like 2 feet above their heads.
Yeah.
They don't notice shit.
Yeah, and then there's like the shot of Wayne standing in front of the bar, which looks totally fake, and you just see Nick walk out.
And he's like, he looks
every direction but behind.
Yeah, just looking side to side like a Terminator. It's kind of cartoonish.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, those guys were wearing hats. So,
true. Everybody knows you can't look up.
You can't see anything in your peripheral vision. It's just blocked.
Michael manages to get on top of the truck just before Lyle could find him on the roof of the bar. Down the road, Michael knocks on the driver's window, causing him to slam on his brakes and yell, "You're about 1,000 miles from nowhere, boy." Sorry, I guess we probably don't have many Dwight Yoakam fans in our audience.
That somewhat obscure country singer from the 1980s. You're 1,000 miles from nowhere. I always hated him as a kid because he sounded like Kermit the Frog singing. And since I've come to actually really like him, I don't know why. It's like when I was a kid, I hated Dwight Yoakam, but now I actually really like him.
Actually, he pulls a gun on a lunatic hanging off his roof, and when he puts it in Michael's face, he says, "Does that tickle? Because it won't if I pull the trigger." Something I said to my wife on our honeymoon. Michael tells the guy he was just trying to ditch his old lady since she caught him at the bar, and the guy doesn't buy his bullshit. Quick fact, Dwight Yoakam brought his own pistol for his role as a truck driver. His hit single, 1,000 Miles from Nowhere, is used during the film's closing credits.
Of course he brought his own.
My daughter really liked that song during the credits.
Did she really?
I stopped the movie and then she made me put it back on because she was dancing to it. So
it's a good song.
It's a hit with 3-year-olds.
He cocks the gun and tells Michael to get off the truck, then offers Michael a ride since he can tell Michael is desperate, and he'll take what he can get, lot lizard wise. I mean, who knows? Maybe they both discover a crazy little thing called love.
Crazy little thing called love. Dwight Yoakam. That's all you got to do is just put on a Kermit, sing a song.
It ain't easy being green. That's my favorite Dwight Yoakam song.
It ain't easy being green.
Oh, God. Michael asks if the driver can drop him off at Suzanne's ranch since he has a little business to take care of. And the driver asks him if she's pretty. It's kind of a weird 2 minutes these characters share.
It really is. It's like get the fuck off the truck or I'll kill you. And then it's, well, is she pretty? Like, I guess he could just sense that he was lying about something that was important, and then suddenly they're best friends, and I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Just the way of the trucker, man. They're super forgiving.
That's right. I saw that episode of Always Sunny. Tom Sizemore. Want you guys to split me open like a coconut.
Oh, God damn it. Well, Michael then breaks into the ranch where he finds Suzanne packing a bag. He scares the shit out of her again by busting through her porch door like the Kool-Aid man screaming, "Oh, yeah!" Not just joking. But he does scare the shit out of her.
He does.
I think it's
she plays that really well of both times. Just like suddenly terrified with tears in her eyes. What the fuck are you doing?
You're back
again.
He comes clean that he's not who she thinks he is and warns her that the actual killer just rolled into town. She tells him he's full of shit and to leave. Then Nick goes full Cage and says, "You're not listening to me. Your friend, the ranch hand, he's been shot." I can't do it justice, but god damn, it did ramp up real quick.
Yeah, it was just like, whoa, okay.
Whoa. There's a couple of those moments.
That's the thing he comes unhinged about?
Yeah, exactly.
Your friend, the ranch hand, he's been shot!
She asks what happened and if they know who shot him, to which Michael assumes it was her husband. I mean, duh. Suddenly, Lyle pulls into the driveway, which it's funny how they both can clearly hear a car pull up, but she couldn't hear him knocking on the freaking door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, what kind of hitman just drives right up to the front of the house?
An efficient one.
Yeah, why not? Just pull right up.
Nothing bad ever happens. You drive in somebody's house in the middle of nowhere out in Wyoming.
Fucking
They're not
down
liable to shoot you or something.
Yeah.
a private dirt road in the middle of hundreds of acres of someone else's land, probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who's your husband? Whose husband is the sheriff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lyle strolls in the house sporting murder gloves and a gun, while Michael picks up that horse lighter thing from Wild at Heart. I think that's what it was. Or some sort of heavy statue.
There's another one in his office, too.
I know.
Right?
There's
it's
like
the same thing.
Yeah, it was weird because they like really focus on it when
Everyone
they do
just
that
has
time
like
shift.
brass horse statues in the West, I guess.
Yes. I don't know. It must have been a thing back in the day, apparently.
Was in Wild at Heart? Was it? It was a clock too, right?
I think
pretty
so.
sure
It
it
was
was
like
a
a desk clock.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
Is it just a very popular thing? It's like that
Kind
painting
of makes
that
sense in
everybody
Wild at Heart.
had
It
of
feels like
kids.
something David Lynch would see and be like,
Yeah.
I got to put that. That's weird. I got to have that in the movie. Put it center of the frame.
Well, it makes sense as a David Lynch thing.
Yeah.
But then why
That's
did
what I
they
mean.
use it in Red Rock
I guess that
West
maybe they're
twice?
just common things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a nod. I don't know. Like we
Delightful
said,
little
this film does
Americana.
feel a little Lynch-esque. So maybe it was a nod
Yeah.
to them. Nod to
I
him.
could see John Dahl being a Lynch fan.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an homage.
Michael then turns the water to the tub on and waits for Lyle to come upstairs, where Michael chucks the statue at Lyle's head and then punches him out. That scene was like super aggressive. I was like, "Whoa, okay!" He just chucks it at his head. He's quick though, man. I give him credit. He closed that gap real quick, then beat the hell out of the guy.
You want to take chances with Dennis Hopper, man.
no.
He's wily.
Never hesitate.
You must never hesitate.
I wonder if Suzanne was the prom queen.
Probably.
Lara Flynn Boyle seems like she would have been the prom queen at some point.
Yeah. Suzanne strolls in and asks what she should do, and Michael says, "If I was you, I'd get a divorce."
Zing.
These one-liners are great. Meanwhile, nobody turns off the water to the tub, so I think it's fair to say that those beautiful ranch-style wood floors are about to be ruined. Patrick, I hope for your sake your Airbnb guests don't treat your place the same way. They treat it with a little more respect because You got some beautiful
If they did, I'd throw a fucking horse clock at their head.
Michael takes Lyle's gun and decides to steal his car, but of course there are no keys in it since why would there be? Like, you don't just, nobody leaves their fucking keys in the car. Not even assassins.
He just pulls up in front of the house with the windows open, keys in the car, then comes in, kills her, just jets out.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I did appreciate things like that. Like, okay, maybe in a sloppier movie, the keys would be in there so he has a quick way to get out. I did appreciate that they didn't do those stupid tropes that tend to happen, especially with the cops. I was so happy to see that the deputies were not babbling idiots. They're actually putting things together.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the jump, like as soon as Wayne is like, we need to impound his car and take him into custody, they're like,
I'll take him down to the station.
What?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Suzanne comes out with a different set of keys and says they belong to a Jeep behind the barn. Michael rips some nondescript wires out of Lyle's engine. I'm guessing he was taking out like spark plugs or...
Yeah, it looked like the starter or something, some vital piece.
So. Something along those lines. And chucks them into the bushes before climbing into the Jeep, which, of course, barely has any gas, which prompts him to say,
Fucking story of my life.
Yeah, so like, was Lyle just going to be stranded at the house?
I think so.
The Jeep. Sorry. Yeah,
he does fix the car, so you got to give him credit. I mean, he's a mechanic on the go.
Also, he probably's like, hey, fuck, there's the caps for my spark plugs. So I'll just reattach
just set them off to the side.
I think he like threw them in the bushes, like just next to the car. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but like,
probably found them.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we'll save that for later. Suzanne hops in dressed like a Dick Tracy villain or something, and head to the nearest town that isn't Red Rock.
Yeah, what the hell is she wearing?
I don't know. I thought the same thing.
Like something from Spirit Halloween or something.
Also, she gets dressed on the balcony. Did you notice that? Because she goes out in her like 90, and then she comes back in and he
leaves her on the balcony.
I was like, okay. I don't remember her grabbing clothes, but maybe she did. I don't know.
She was like packing.
Yeah,
when he came in, so maybe she just
took her
grabbed
bag out.
Maybe she just grabbed some stuff. But yeah. Anyways, Margot asks if there's a sheriff in town, and Suzanne talks him out of going to the police since he impersonated a hired killer and took $10,000 or $10,000 from her and her husband. I kind of feel like it doesn't really seem like it'd be that hard to explain, honestly. But as we soon find out, Suzanne has some alternative motives.
Ulterior.
Or
I guess alternative works, but
some ulterior motives. Yeah, same thing. Tomato. Fish, fox.
She has some alternative music theories.
Well, she looks
really
like she
big in 1993.
She suggests that they get as far away from Red Rock as possible because that'll work way better. At the impound lot, the sheriff deputies are searching Michael's car and pulling his registration info. Wayne drops in to say the son of a bitch got away, and the deputies start to get a little suspicious of their boss when they spot $10,000 and a gun in Michael's glove box. I also like how Wayne's like, yeah, he kicked my arm. I was like,
that explains it. Okay.
Yeah. Fucking guy. Over at a gas station, Michael fills up the Jeep, then buys a couple boxes of Wheat Thins, a big hunk bar, a couple more cases of Bud, and a loaf of bread. No, wait. He says he's broke and only has about $80 in his wallet. Suzanne asks for the money so she can pay for the gas, which he reluctantly gives her since it's clear he doesn't fully trust her. She helps herself to every cent before heading into a bar. He joins her and says they should probably get going, but she says, "Drink? I'm having one." We got to fit that in everywhere we can because it's hilarious. Nah, she actually says that they should relax and have a drink. Why not make a night of it? Suzanne turns on the charm and decides she wants this weirdo drifter she hardly knows to rattle her cage for a while. Get it? Michael isn't falling for his shit, but you could tell he's wondering what we all wondered back then. What it'd be like to have one night with Donna Hayward from Twin Peaks.
I know I wondered back then. Still do. Even
she's
old,
old now.
weird, clown-looking Lara Flynn Boyle.
Suzanne says they should go to Mexico together since she loves tequila. Okay, why not? But again, he's not into it and asks why Wayne wanted her dead. Suzanne says her parents died in an accident, so she inherited a very large insurance claim, and Wayne wants her dead so he can keep all of it, since if they get a divorce, he'll be left with nothing.
They pulled all of his information at the police station, and presumably he'd be wanted after this because he resisted arrest and assaulted a police officer. So wouldn't he be busted as soon as they got to the Mexican border? Even in 1993, I feel like
have taught me anything. No, not just joking. I don't know, because I don't think they would have been able to get that information out
Fast enough.
Plus, they ask him, "Hey, do you want us to put a bolo out?" And he says, "No."
That's true.
So they're not passing along that information. So I guess they actually do explain why he wouldn't get caught if he tried to cross into Mexico. Plus, do you think Mexican border security is really going to stop white people from coming in? No. They
Yeah, and I don't think Wayne wanted to put the call out, because then if they catch him, then he could just be like, "Yeah, well, this guy paid me to kill his wife," and then it's all over for him. So
yeah. And he's wanted by the FBI. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right. So
he's wanted by the old timey FBI too, based off of that wanted poster that we see.
pull it right out
he's
of the
wanted by
saloon
the
wall.
Pinkertons.
The Hatfields are out to get him.
U.S. Marshals are rolling through town looking for a couple of embezzlers from Chicago.
Shot town.
Oh fuck!
I thought you meant old timey, as in like Fox Mulder.
Yeah,
It's like,
too, like 90s
1993 FBI.
That'd be great too, actually.
Mulder and Scully arrive. Heard there were some aliens out here near Devil's Tower,
We heard
Wyoming.
you thought you were alien when you were a child, Michael. Yeah, I just never fit in. Anyways,
But I can remember when I was in the womb. I don't know if you saw that one. He says he can remember moments from the womb, but he thinks he's a space alien.
right.
Hey, maybe he thinks he was the Star Child from 2001 Space Odyssey. His womb was
From
out in
Kiss?
space.
Yeah. I guess that fits. That works.
Okay, we briefly cut to Wayne nervously smoking in his office at the bar, where he ggets a call from Lyle, who says he'll track down Suzanne, but it's going to cost Wayne more money. Wayne says he'll give Lyle the money and tells him to meet him at 9:30 the next morning at the bar. Back at the bar, a different bar, not Wayne's bar, but a bar that's not in Red Rocks, but close.
It's
Anyway,
near a
anyways.
truck stop area with like
Right.
3 different gas stations.
Yeah.
And Dwight Yoakam.
Anyway, Yoakam.
Anyways, Michael and Suzanne stumble out like they just drank champagne at Puff Daddy's house. And Suzanne again asks if Michael wants to go with her to Mexico. He says they should get a cup of coffee. He says they should get a cup of coffee first, but Suzanne says she has a better idea, and she nods her head towards Cover Inn. The pinnacle
Damn
of
fine
romance.
cup of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. There. Twin Peaks reference. Nice.
Oh, shit. We see Mike get some ice, and in the room, he pours the two of them a drink from a brand new bottle of whiskey. Wait. So you tell me he bought a full tank of gas, paid enough for drinks for them to get plastered at the bar, a motel room, and a bottle of whiskey for $80? God damn. Inflation's a real son of a bitch. I can't even get
$80 for how much was the room? Like $20. It's a Comfort Inn, so
Yeah. So it's a budget motel. So I mean, even back then you're probably looking about $20, I would imagine, per night.
God,
Well, they're in Wyoming, so God, who knows? Maybe $5 a night.
it's $12.
So,
Maybe they only got it for the hour or two.
They just got it for the evening. Lot
Lover's
lizard price.
package. Lot lizard rate.
Yeah, it's right by those truck stops, so it's probably one of those hourly hotels. So.
Suzanne puts the moves on Michael again, and you could tell he's reluctant since she's married, and he's a stand-up guy. But like I said, it's Donna Hayward from Twin Peaks. She introduces herself to Nicky Coppola. She introduces herself to little Nicky Coppola, but unfortunately, we fade to black before the fun starts. Before the fun begins.
I'm gonna have the awkward sex scene from Deadfall, but Cage and Lara Flynn Boyle.
It's just Cage laying on top of her, missionary, his pale ass gleaming in the light. It's a missed opportunity. I feel like this movie would have got a wider release if that scene had been.
True.
At least the director knows how to show some class. Cut away when it's appropriate. Not subject us all to things like that.
Once we're done watching her lick him from chin through his chest hair down to little Nicky, they cut away to black. During pillow talk, Susan convinces Michael he should take her to Mexico. The next morning, Susan tells him they're going to need money to get to Mexico, and he says, "We're going to Mexico?" Since I guess it was the whiskey talking when he agreed to go.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go to Mexico, whatever. Go to sleep. And then the next scene, we're going to Mexico? What the fuck are you talking about?
She tells him Wayne always keeps cash in a safe in his office, so they should head back to Red Rock and steal it. He thinks she's crazy, but I guess their one night of raucous whiskey dick lovemaking at the Comfort Inn was enough for him to fall for her, enough to risk his life or possibly go to prison. So they decide to head back to Red Rock.
Act 3. Time to resolve some shit.
Suzanne and Michael sneak into Wayne's office, no sweat, where Suzanne struggles to open a floor safe, but Michael is able to open it right away because he's a man, and that's how movies work for some reason. She's like, you try it.
I thought they were going to have to drill into it all night.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be like she's framing him for something. Get his fingerprints on it.
Yeah, I thought so
sort
too,
of
yeah.
go anywhere.
It's a good idea. Maybe it was something that was left on the cutting room floor. She is really just setting him up from the very beginning. Like she turns on the charm just to make sure that he goes back and helps her get the money. Once she finds out that he has no money, because she was just going to steal, I think, the $10,000 that she gave him and head off to Mexico by herself. And she finds out he only has $80. She's like, oh, well, take your dick out.
That's true. Yeah.
Inside, they only find about $20,000. And Suzanne is pissed. I'm just assuming because they were like $5,000 stacks. There were four of them.
There were four of them. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And Suzanne is pissed since there was supposed to be significantly more than that, as we soon find out. Suddenly, Wayne pulls up behind the bar, so Michael and Suzanne carefully close the safe, cover it with the rug, move the desk back over it, while leaving all of the papers from inside of the safe all over the frickin' floor.
It's so stupid.
Why not put the papers back in the safe, then close it?
Or just take them with you into the closet.
Yeah. Which, rather than like leave, Michael and Suzanne hide in a closet for some reason. It's like there was plenty of time and opportunity to get out and go somewhere else, but no, they just hop in the closet for the guy who's trying to kill both of them now.
Yeah.
Wayne notices the papers all over the floor. And then Michael cocks his gun as Wayne walks towards the closet door, but suddenly there's a knock on the door, and Wayne's deputies stroll in, which Wayne seems pretty shocked to see them. It's like, why would they be paying him a visit? The floppy-haired main deputy, they have names, but it's like that 90s haircut that everybody had back then. It's like that floppy, like something from the kids in Home Improvement. They had those kinds of like haircuts at the time.
You can say it, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Always got to work him in there somewhere.
And his haircut.
The floppy-haired deputy says the ranch hand is in critical condition, but is expected to make it. We cut and we see Suzanne is conflicted when she hears that news, but then we cut back to reveal that the deputy handed Wayne a wanted poster with he and Suzanne's picture on it. Which, the deputies.
Like, where do they even get it? Like,
I don't know. Like,
It was hanging
like,
outside
it
the
wasn't-
saloon.
it wasn't
saw
like
this
faxed
tied up
over
at
or
the
anything.
saloon, yeah.
It was tacked up outside his office door.
yeah, the whole time. The deputy says he called the FBI since it seems Wayne, a.k.a. Kevin, and Suzanne, a.k.a. Ann, stole $1.9 million. The deputy also hands Wayne the letter Michael sent the night before, so it's safe to say Wayne is boned worse than an aspiring rapper at Diddy's house.
Oh god.
Oh, God.
Struggling to take dick. While all this is going on, Michael gives Suzanne a disgusted look, and she again tries to use her sexiness to distract him. She like starts grabbing on him a little bit. The deputy asks Wayne if he paid someone to kill Suzanne and if he shot Kurt the ranch hand, but Wayne plays dumb and asks to see his lawyer. The deputies take Wayne away, allowing Michael and Suzanne to come out of the closet where Michael reads the wanted poster. It says Kevin and Ann McCord stole $1.9 million from a steel mill in Illinois and is weathered like it was a wanted poster from the Old West hanging in a saloon for some reason. Just like, where the fuck did they get this thing?
Yeah, you'd think presumably it would be faxed over from
Yeah.
Illinois or something. Fax paper looks a lot different than
It's like crumpled
weathered
yellow
poster paper.
weathered poster
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
Was it at the sheriff's office, like on the wall?
Yeah, and they just noticed, like, hey, wait a minute, give me that,
Hey.
put that over here.
She says it was all Wayne's idea and she's innocent since he drug her into it, but Michael's not buying it. She says there was supposed to be $500,000 in the safe, so Wayne must have hid it somewhere else. Then she says they can still be together and go to Mexico, which prompts Cage to deliver one of the greatest line reads of his career.
Fuck Mexico!
I love that so much. Just turns around. Fuck Mexico. I think, like, Cage is sort of like almost Christopher Walken-esque with the emphasis on certain things. Like, he's been shot, like that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like he doesn't know exactly where to emphasize things.
Yeah.
Fuck Mexico.
You guys seen Dune Part 2 yet?
No,
I haven't
I haven't
yet.
made it past the popcorn bucket.
Oh, God, it's great, but there's a part when Walken goes, "What deeb?" But then he says it. It's like the only actual like Walken-ism in the whole movie. It's fucking hilarious. It's not in a funny scene or anything. He just says it like I can't even do it because I can't do
What
Walken. very well.
deeb?
Yeah, it's almost exactly like that.
That's awesome.
What deeb?
Oh my God. What deeb?
It's worth the price of an IMAX ticket just to see Walken say "What deeb."
I'm so glad that he was cast in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's that great at it, but like, it could have been anybody. But I'm just happy it was Walken.
I feel like
just for that
Walken
one
is
line.
Semi-retired and just kind of
Yeah.
like coming out for things that he thinks would be fun.
Yeah.
Because he's getting
What
up
deeb?
there.
Yeah, he's
What deeb?
What deeb? Because he didn't whisper it. What deeb?
No, he just said. Yeah, that's great. See if I can find the clip.
The spice. Suzanne begs him to stay with her, so he strokes her face like Sean Archer in Face Off, and then heads out the door just in time to be punched in the face by Lyle from Dallas. It's kind of like, yeah, it was Sean Archer-esque.
That's fucking hilarious.
Lyle knocks Michael out, and we see time pass on another horse clock for some reason. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why are there so many of these goddamn horse clocks? This is just like like that painting that everybody had in their houses of like the kids that everybody attributes to being cursed and burning down houses. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Back then it was the horse clocks in late 80s, early 90s. Michael wakes up to see Lyle holding a gun on him. And when he comes to, Lyle holds up the wanted poster, and Lyle says Suzanne told him Wayne was a bookkeeper at this steel mill in Illinois and stole $2 million, but still has $500,000 hidden somewhere. Lyle suggests they go pay Wayner a visit at the police station. He calls him Wayner a bunch.
Jarring transition.
Let's go see what Wayner has to say. But first, Lyle pulls off the road to go burn down some old abandoned house, so the cops and the fire department have to respond to the fire. And it's a small town, so basically those two deputies of the entire police force.
Yep. Yeah, they had to get some random woman to man the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's like two streets. Red Rock.
Yeah.
Which is still like, why would he go there to look for work? Yeah, there's plenty of work over in this tiny fucking two road town.
Maybe because there's always shit like this going on. If you got no scruples, you can find a job.
Yeah. Work for that plant that Dwight Yoakam works at or whatever. While Lyle is burning down the house, Suzanne apologizes to Michael, prompting him to say,
What do you say we put a cap on the horse shit?
very cagey delivery on that one, too. There's not a ton of cagey moments in this movie. I feel like it's pretty subdued, but like the 3 or 4 that there are pretty fucking cagey. The two of them make a plan to loosen up the cords that Lyle wrapped around their wrists and start twitching like two tweakers outside of a Waffle House at 3 a.m.
Cord's so tight, my hands are going numb.
Just keep moving them.
Trying to undo the things. You've seen that Waffle House? No. It's the entertainment while you're eating the horrible food that somebody flicked their cigarette into. No Waffle House fans in the audience.
They're ashing on your ash mats.
Fucking guy cooking your food's got sweat beating up on his nose and dripping onto your waffle.
We're out of salt.
That's just seasoning. Yeah.
Hold on, I got you.
Suzanne says there's a pocket knife on the keys to the Jeep, which Michael has in his back pocket. He gets to work cutting his restraint, which takes him like 5 seconds and takes her like 4 hours to fucking cut hers.
Yeah.
Again, she's a woman in a movie. That's how they make
safe.
them look. Can't open a safe. Can't cut her fucking cord off.
Yeah.
Can't kill a man.
Can't kill several men.
Can't climb on a train.
The cops are alerted to the fire, and once Lyle sees the floppy-haired deputy drive by, he heads to the station to get Wayne. Lyle just strolls in the front door, walks up to the cop, calling in volunteer firefighters to fight this fire, and puts one right between the dude's eyes. just that easy. No cameras, no nothing. 90s.
Yeah. Again, this plot doesn't work in today, but
exactly.
Works back then.
Wayne yells out in terror, and Lyle takes his sweet time chatting with Wayne while eating the guy's sandwich.
Hey, man, it's turkey.
This is turkey.
This is
my
his
favorite.
Again, I feel like that was he comes back from lunch. He grabbed from craft services on his way back from lunch.
I'm still going to eat my sandwich, all right? We're just going to do the scene.
I don't care if we can film it.
He's like, roll cameras. I'll make it work.
It's weird. Like there's this look that Hopper gives in that scene where it's like he almost regrets having just shot the guy in the head, but he's super happy to have the turkey sandwich. It's weird. It's like, I thought we were supposed to be setting up that he's like a very remorseless killer and like doesn't care that he just popped this guy in the head. But then he gives
maybe
this
he's just
look.
regretting that it causes complications and he doesn't like loose ends, and leaving a dead sheriff in the police station is a pretty big loose end.
Yeah. Lyle asks Wayne where the money is and that he'll let him go if he gives him half of the $500,000 that's left. Wayne quickly agrees, and then we cut to the sheriff's deputy getting suspicious that they were lured away from the station with the fire for a reason. So these cops are not idiots. Like you said, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Usually
I like
they
that.
like dumb them down because they're deputies or something. See, like, First Blood. Like every fucking deputy is a moron in that movie. Mm-hmm. The floppy-haired deputy tells Cuckboy that he's heading back to the station. We cut to Lyle forcing Wayne to put on handcuffs. In the car, Michael undoes his restraint with the pocket knife, jumps out of the car to get Suzanne, but he is stopped in the act by Lyle, because of course he is. Michael then sheepishly puts Suzanne back in the car, but hands her the pocket knife and tells her to take Wayne and he'll take Lyle, which doesn't really come back into play after this. Lyle tells Michael to drive, and as they cruise by the police station, the floppy-haired deputy pulls in and finds his buddy dead on the floor. Suddenly, we see a train coming, so Lyle puts the accelerator down to the floor, forcing Michael to drive right at it. The train is too fast, so Michael has to drive alongside of it for a bit before getting ahead of it while Lyle screams and laughs in his ear because he's a madman, I guess. I don't know. Yep. It's the most conspicuous thing you could possibly do. They have no idea what the car looks like. They have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
Just fucking gun it towards the train. Michael barely makes it in front of the train, but the deputy sees the car squealing its tires from a distance, and he's able to make out that it's a black Buick. Like, nothing like making yourself as conspicuous as possible.
Exactly. Plus, now you have a bunch of bystanders that will watch you jump the track.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would assume, like, because there's like a truck driver parked at the light that the car drives over. I would assume that the truck driver would have probably looked at the plate, and then they could have just asked him. And then,
that's how I assume he found he got the description of the vehicles by talking to the people that were watching.
I don't think he saw it happen. He just saw the commotion.
He saw the commotion, yelling. And then like they're all talking.
Again, he put it together because he's a good cop.
So he went over and got the information from them because they're all talking about it. Like, oh, that was crazy. What happened? He's like, oh, this guy just jumped over the track. He's like, what an asshole.
This guy who played the floppy-haired cop was in a lot of stuff in the 90s, too. I remember seeing him in a lot of things like TV shows and stuff. On the road, Lyle taunts his hostages and chugs scotch for some reason before asking Wayne how he became sheriff. And then he says it turns out he was elected by buying every voter in the county a drink, which I guess means because he has the bar. Like he
just gave everybody a free drink night or something.
Everybody who came over was like, oh, I'm running for sheriff. I guess. I don't know.
It's kind of how I figured it. He bought the bar first and then used that as a way to just buy off the population to elect him sheriff.
Yeah.
Which also seems like a weird thing to do if you're on the run from the FBI, but, whatever. Yeah.
Why run? I mean, I guess.
Why make yourself as conspicuous and a public figure?
I mean, maybe to, like, throw off the scent. Like, anytime red flags would come up, you would be like, oh, I thought I saw them over in this county. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Lyle turns his attention to Michael and says he knew a guy like him once that thought he was better than everybody else. And Michael says,
why don't you just blow me?
Pay good money to see that. Then Lyle puts the gun to Michael's head, calls him a cowboy a couple times, and then shoots out the driver's side window. And then he giggles, telling Mike to choose life, because he's from Texas.
God damn it.
That was like a weirdly overly aggressive. I mean, if this guy's like a hired hitman who is like really good at killing people, you'd think he'd be more level-headed than this. This seems kind of crazy. Like he's chugging scotch. He's the only one who's like, drunk in this group. Mm-hmm. They could all
it could
get
be
the
that
better
he's just
of
not
him.
that great of a hitman. It's all
maybe.
that Wayne, because Wayne doesn't really vet him all that well. So
true.
He just was like, had
He
some
was
connection,
also
send him a hitman, and that's what he was going to get.
He was a week late to coming to the fucking hit job. Yeah, I guess so. It's all explained now.
Definitely feels like a David Lynch character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this movie.
totally. Maybe it's just because we've seen Dennis Hopper play a Lynch character, but like it really feels like a David Lynch character.
Yeah,
That's funny. Surprised he wasn't a member of some like big giant organized crime syndicate of some sort, some nameless crime syndicate.
yeah.
Mr.
Working
Reindeer.
for Mr. Reindeer.
We quickly cut to the deputies heading out in search of a black Buick with Texas plates, and then them enlisting the help of some random town people to run the radios while their buddy's body just goes into rigor mortis on the floor next to her or something.
Yeah, they don't show the body, so it was like they just looking at like the blood stain on the floor or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
weird.
There's a
weird.
shot when she radios. I think when she radios him, you do see the body behind her covered in a blanket.
Oh, all right.
So he's just laying there.
I guess
they
they
put a
know
sheet on
enough
him.
to not disturb the crime scene. Maybe
I
until
guess.
Maybe. Well, he does say
mortician gets there
that
from like
somebody's on
4
the-
counties over.
I think he does say that the coroner is on the way to pick up the body
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, it takes a while.
I don't know. It's a little really weird. It starts twitching like in The Rock. Is that normal? I just work at the craft store down the street. I can't handle this. We see Michael and the gang pull into a cemetery in the dark after sneakily passing a caretaker's house. But it's cool because there's no way that he could have detected them since they had the lights off.
Huh.
No way that you could hear a V8 engine passing 10 feet away.
You just sound the tires
Whisper
crunching on
silence
gravel.
of Wyoming. Quick fact, the graveyard scene was actually filmed at the Santa Monica airport.
What?
Around one of their hangars. They made a set as a soundstage.
You could tell
but
it was
at
a
the
set.
airport for some reason.
Yeah, you could tell that was a set, but at the airport, what the hell?
Yeah, that's
I mean, it's a way to like build a big set in a big hangar. I don't know.
I guess. Interesting.
The reason this happened was because of cold, wet, and inclement weather around Wilcox, Arizona, which is where it was originally supposed to take place. And rather than film in miserable weather for the cast and the crew, director John Dahl decided to shoot it on a set. Might have helped with the performances, if they were actually in the real graveyard or
Yeah.
in a real place that actually exists. I don't
Or
know.
cold, miserable. I think that's what
Yeah.
made the performances in Trapped in Paradise more realistic. Is they're in the elements.
Scott Scallions. Really sold that line. In the spooky fog-filled graveyard, Wayne convinces Lyle to take off his cuffs while Michael digs up a grave and the Monster Mash plays in the background or something. I don't know. It's just the freaking fog rolling into the headstones that look like they've been there for fucking century.
Yeah. It was,
Couldn't tell it was a set.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Suzanne is taking her sweet ass time cutting the fucking cord around her wrists. Still, hasn't even like started at this point. I guess maybe like she wanted to, make them think that she didn't have a way of cutting the cord
Yeah.
the whole time in the car. But you could have, the whole drive, she could have been cutting that thing on. Lyle asks Wayne what they should do with Suzanne and Mike after they get the money, and Wayne says that they should let them go. But Lyle says he doesn't like loose ends. Make another Diddy joke here, but but like I guess that's showing a little bit of character development with Wayne of like he doesn't want to kill her anymore. He doesn't want to kill Michael either. Just wants this whole thing to be over.
Yeah.
Michael unburies a toolbox wrapped in chains. It's very spooky, very spooky. And when Wayne says he won't open it until Lyle gets rid of the gun, which prompts Lyle to ask why he doesn't just kill all of them and take the box. It's a fair point. Which, like, Wayne says that the caretaker who can't hear a V8 engine would hear the shot, which was good enough for him to, like, put down his gun after that.
He's like, oh,
But,
yeah,
like,
okay.
That would have been a pretty easy ending for him, is just shoot them all, drive away. Nobody knows what the description of the car is. He just walks away scot-free with $500,000. But so the movie can happen.
Yeah.
Lyle drops his gun, but not before popping the clip out as Mike watches on, while Wayne opens the box, which he smartly stashed a gun in. He pulls the gun on Lyle and tells him to get away from the car. Does this mean we're not partners anymore? Then Wayne heads to the car to bail with the money, leaving them all, including his estranged wife, I guess, behind. When Wayne finds that there are no keys in the car, again, Lyle says he has them, and after tossing them on the ground, Lyle pops a knife down from his arm sleeve like he's Travis Bickle or something and chucks it at Wayne's throat. Wayne falls on the ground as he fires a shot, which alerts old man caretaker and his wife to call the cops. Michael tackles Lyle to the ground, and Suzanne finally cuts her restraint free after 4 hours. Michael and Lyle fight for a bit while Suzanne takes the gun from her husband and knees him in the face. She also tries to leave everyone else high and dry herself, but she can't find the keys to the car. Wayne crawls away to the keys and tosses them as far as he can for a guy who's dying from a knife to the throat, while Michael re-injures his knee and gets some cool Ghost Rider chains around his neck. Thanks to Lyle.
I'm glad you thought the same thing I did.
Oh, man, it's homage to the future. Lyle tries to skewer Michael on a war memorial of some sort, of a soldier with a bayonet, but Michael manages to swing Lyle into it first, using some physics, some crafty physics.
Using his Ghost Rider powers.
Yeah, it's true. Or his Mandy powers, whichever.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
As Michael walks away from Lyle...
grabs Lyle by the head. I'm your god now.
That would have been awesome. Crushes his head. Spoilers for Mandy. As Michael walks away from Lyle dying on the war memorial, he turns around and says, "You know what? I am better than you." Just a couple little one-liners in there. Michael makes his way to the car, and Suzanne points the gun at him like the double-crossing bitch that she is. But when Lyle shows up behind Michael, she unloads the gun into him instead. We finally see the end of Dennis Hopper's raving lunatic character. Suddenly, they hear the sound of sirens in the distance just as a train passes nearby. Coincidences, man. Just those... so happens to be a train passing by right at that moment. He tells Suzanne that they should head for the train, but he just says, "Suzanne, train!" Why use lot words when few words do trick?
There's no time.
There's no time for words.
She grabs the money, but also spots Lyle's gun in the passenger seat, but she can't tell that it doesn't have bullets in it or a clip in it, I guess, which she stashes in her pants. Then she beats Wayne with the stack of money as he tries to grab her. Some symbolism there, like their whole relationship summed up. Beats him to death with the money.
Yeah.
Michael hobbles his way on his bad leg towards the train as the floppy-haired deputy arrives, and Wayne points to the train when he sees his former deputy. I guess he just wants them to get caught now. Anything to take Suzanne down, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Michael and Suzanne manage to get on the extremely slow-moving train into an empty boxcar. You ever notice how there's always a boxcar with nothing in it, with the doors wide open?
Wide open,
Doors
yeah.
wide open. Yeah. I see that every time I see a train pass by.
See, that could have just been another twist where there's a hobo in there.
I thought there was going to be, yeah.
It just stabs them both immediately.
Yeah.
What are you drinking on over there?
It's just the fucking guy from Joe.
I do get that
Bottle scotch. Give me that bottle scotch.
My wife, he's got the cancer. Have you ever seen that in real life? Like a boxcar driving by with fucking doors open, nothing in it?
No.
No.
Because now it's all shipping containers.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they're, oil or gas.
Yeah, they just load the
it is, in
container onto a
cylinders,
flatbed and then
onto
send
a
that.
flat,
Yeah. It doesn't seem very cost effective to have empty boxcars.
Yeah, boxcars are a thing of the past.
Yeah. Suzanne pulls Lyle's gun on Michael 2 seconds after getting on the train, and he says,
I guess this means you'll be going to Mexico by yourself, huh?
she tells him to jump out of the train, and he asks her if she shot the ranch hand, and she confirms his suspicions. Which, like, how did he become suspicious that she was the one who shot him?
Maybe just, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's
Like,
because
she's double crossing him right now.
Yeah, now she understands that she's not as innocent as she's portraying herself to be.
She tells him the ranch hand found out about her and Wayne stealing the $2 million and wanted to cut. Michael grabs the money as she threatens to shoot him, but he starts giggling to himself since he saw Lyle pop the clip out of the gun. Suzanne tries to shoot Michael. Wouldn't there be one in the chamber, though?
Yeah, that's where this falls apart. There's still, he never ejected the round from the chamber, so there's still be one in there.
So she would have killed him after all.
Yeah. He should just be thankful that Alec Baldwin was on the other end of that pistol.
Jesus
Christ. Suzanne tries to shoot Michael, but of course there are no bullets. So he starts dumping the money out of the boxcar door. Since I guess that was, it's because that's the cause of this whole sticky situation in the first place. He's just sick of it. He's sick of money. It's ruined him. It's ruined his life. She begs him to stop, but he dumps the whole bag out. She calls him stupid son of a bitch, so he punts her dumb ass off the train.
Go get it.
Go get it, bitch. She stands up just as the deputy pulls up behind her, and Michael watches as the train very slowly rolls away. I mean, the cop probably saw him in the train.
Yeah.
I'll get him in a minute. Let's just drive 60 miles an hour and stop the train.
I feel like that deputy is like, fuck this poor bastard. My thought was like, this guy got mixed up in this bullshit. I was like, the whole time he's going to be a pawn because he doesn't know about the connection of him extorting the two for the money originally.
But now he does.
Yeah.
Michael slumps down in the boxcar, then notices a stack of money that got stuck in the door, which he puts in his pocket, saying, "Adios, Red Rock." So I guess that money was fine to keep, but not the rest of it. He was owed that somehow.
Yeah, that was the original 5,000 he should have just taken. And avoided this whole thing.
Yeah, he should have just taken that 5,000 left and gotten himself a whole bunch of wheat thins and whatever.
You can buy tons of loaves of bread with that.
Yeah. Dawn breaks and we watch the train slowly drive away as the credits roll to the sweet sounds of Dwight Yoakam. And since this is a movie, we can assume he lives happily ever after rather than be caught hours later, since the cops already have all of his information, know exactly what train he's on, and presumably Suzanne told them that he was responsible for killing Lyle and Wayne. But that doesn't
holding
happen.
her hostage or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure she's going to pin the whole damn thing on him.
Oh, yeah.
Quick fact. The final scene where Michael finally leaves Red Rock on a freight train was shot in Montana months after production ended because director John Dahl couldn't get the right shot for the film to end the way that he wanted in Arizona. And this was always his intention of how he wanted the film to end. I don't think we see Cage in that final shot, right?
It's just a shot of the train.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they just went and filmed some random freight train heading towards the mountains.
It's like at the end of Arsenal. Had to wait for a train to come by while they were doing baseball.
Dude, film it real quick.
Get out there.
Strap it to a monkey.
Whose iguanas are these?
Nick sure spends a lot of time in cars in this movie. But just imagine how much better his experience during those long road trips could have been if he had a subscription to Libro.fm. Libro FM is a great way to kill time on long, boring road trips through the desolate countryside of Wyoming, since they have more than 450,000 audiobooks to choose from, including bestsellers and recommendations from real booksellers. With Libro.fm, you can also support your favorite local shop, since every subscription or individual sale goes straight to the bookstore of your choice. And we're excited to announce you can now get 2 for the price of 1 with your first month of membership on Libro.fm anywhere in the world by using our coupon code CAGE at checkout.
We have a Coppola questions before we move on.
Coppola questions. Who do you think Jim was? The guy at the beginning, like an old Marine buddy or something? The guy who was going to get him the job?
Oh.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I figured they served together.
I was just wondering like what the connection was there, because he's from Texas. Michael is from Texas, and he drives all the way out to Wyoming for this job. So
Yeah, probably some guy he was in the Corps with.
yeah. Why did Michael already have a gun and binoculars?
The gun part makes sense. I get that.
Yeah, he's just
Texan.
living solo out in off the grid
Yeah.
on his car, going cross country. He'd need it.
Binoculars part, story. Just for the story, just for the plot. I mean, well, yeah.
Maybe he did buy him. You know,
Maybe. He
Or he
stopped
was a
at that
bird
gas
watcher or
station. He
something.
got the binoculars first.
Binoculars, some orange sunglasses.
Why didn't Suzanne put the papers back in the safe?
Because she's lazy.
yeah.
Why did she take him out in the first place?
Yeah.
I mean, just move them around. You can see there's no.
She's just
it'd be
looking for
obvious
money.
if there's cash in there.
Yeah,
Just move them
Yeah.
around. You don't need to take him out. It was just lazy. I think it was just a way to move the plot, which
Yeah,
ended up going
so that he
nowhere.
would discover quickly.
Yeah, it was just for a moment of tension that gets dissolved instantly when the deputies walk in. So
It's just so funny because it's like a shitload of papers, and they just
I
like
know.
they like carefully close the safe, put the
Yes.
rug back over
Yeah.
it, put the
put the
desk
rug
back.
over the papers.
Yeah.
they put the rug over the papers. But yeah,
Like close the safe, throw the papers on top of it, and then dump the rug over it. Just
yeah.
And my final question is, like, wouldn't the floppy hair deputy just immediately go stop that train? Because you would pick up Suzanne, put her in the back of the car, and then the train was going so slow that you could just drive right up to it, flag the conductor, and stop the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he could have even radioed in and asked them
Yeah,
to have the
exactly.
train stop.
yeah, it's kind of easy to tell where a train is and where it's going to be, and you can't lose them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just you gotta have him make off with a happy ending, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess you have to leave it with like some hope. But I'm guessing that Michael is at least going to prison for like 6 months after this.
We've sort of talked about all of them, I think, through it, but like, why didn't Michael just leave with the $5,000 originally? Like, I think they were originally trying to imply that he might be not a great guy, and so he's really thinking about like, maybe I do this job,
Yeah.
and get another $5,000 out of it. Let's go see what this wife is like.
Maybe it's
know?
like a conflict of his morality is like he was paid to do a job, so he has to do
Yeah.
that job.
Yeah,
but
it could
then
be
he
that
was
too.
also paid to kill somebody, so
somebody.
he has to warn that person that somebody's coming to kill him. So,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
kill her.
that could be it. Maybe that's why he brought it all with him and went to tell her, and then just see how things shake out. And then,
Yeah.
but then and he gets to 10,000, and then it's like he just leaves after warning the
Sweet deal.
cops. It's like,
Yeah.
but I don't know. If it was me, I would have just took the 5 and left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, cool, $5,000.
Yeah,
Cool. If I got some money
$5,000,
out of
yeah.
Red Rock, I'll go somewhere else.
He's just feeling it out. Like maybe I will do a murder. I don't know.
Right.
how
Yeah, I think
I'm
there's a
feeling.
lot of that in the beginning where you're just sort of like trying to. I guess the movie's trying to make you think that he possibly is a bad guy and would do something like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like he thinks about taking the money out of the lockbox when he's
Yep.
in the gas station and stuff. So it's so ambiguous. And then through the course of it, obviously, you learn that he's got survivor's guilt. He's a good guy. You know, he just wants to be earn an honest wage,
Yeah.
do an honest job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it definitely feels like they were setting that up, but I do feel like he sort of goes towards the dark side a little bit, but he also like kind of redeems himself at the end. And
I get a sense that it's like, he's got kind of a checkered past, when he makes a joke about it. Guess I'll rob a bank, maybe he did something like that or whatever. Maybe he killed people as a Marine or something. And it's just, he's not a super good guy, but he's got a good moral compass, I guess.
Yeah.
Why did Suzanne have Michael open the safe in the office? Like, was it she really couldn't open it, or was she trying to get his fingerprints all over it to pin it on him later? And maybe tell Wayne, like, he coerced me into opening the safe or something.
I mean, maybe she's just too nervous to open it up, and like she's got shaky hands or something. But yeah, I think that maybe it was in the cutting room floor of like.
Felt like that. Otherwise, it's kind of a
up.
pointless thing to put in the scene.
Yeah,
it was a little bit sloppy.
I think maybe
also
I thought
was pretty tight.
Ratchet up the tension in that scene as well. Like, somebody could burst in any second.
Or shit, did he change the combo and they can't you can't get in a safe?
Yeah, true.
Could have just been that. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Just keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
it's a good thriller.
We also had it sprinkled in that Lyle was going to come at 9:30, and like we could assume that like Lyle could walk in on them any second. So it's another way to make tension there.
Why didn't Suzanne notice there's no clip in the gun at the end?
That's egregious.
Watched him eject it and put it into his pocket or leave it on the ground.
And there's
it's
a big difference in weight.
And a hole in the bottom of the grip. So
I mean, you could explain it a way of like she's in the moment and she's just trying to grab the money and go.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, like you said, that doesn't even bring into the fact that there should have been one in the chamber that wasn't fired off that would have shot him. So
because you have to assume he had the gun loaded, like that he racked around into the chamber, so there would be one in there. I guess you could explain away that he
although maybe
he fired that gun in the car
because he was emptying the gun because he knew Wayne was going to get it. So maybe he had completely emptied. Well, we didn't see him.
Well, he never racks it back to eject the round from the chamber, and he used the gun to shoot the window out in the car. So that another round had been cycled into the chamber.
I mean, I was thinking about that of like. Well, maybe that explains it because he fired the gun and he didn't eject the round, but the round would have been ejected automatically, and a new round would have been
cycled into the chamber. Yeah, so that's just a little oversight on their part.
A gaff.
Maybe it was cut. Maybe they showed him ejecting it because I mean Wayne would know. He's a sheriff's, a sheriff. He would know that there was still a round in that gun.
Yeah. So what was exactly the story with Suzanne shooting the ranch hand? Because when we see him, he's like his truck's broken down on the side of the road. So and she had like just been there and shot him in the stomach, and he was trying to fix his truck with 2 bullets in him, or was she like in the truck and we didn't see it?
I assume that she shot him in that trailer, in the wood paneled love trailer. And then maybe she just like did something to his truck. But she didn't really like make it to where it was like completely dismantled. It was just.
I think she gave him a flat because it was jacked up in the tire. The
driver's
side tire was off. Yeah,
but I feel like a guy with two bullets in his stomach isn't it? I mean, I can guess maybe she left him for dead. He could get in the truck and try to drive off. But then, he's not going to stop, get a jack his truck up, take the tire off.
Yeah. And then walk into the street on
and then stumble out in front of a guy.
I mean, he's in desperation mode. He wanted to try and stop the car at any, maybe he had a gun.
Maybe. I don't know.
He was going to stop Cage and make.
I was just trying to get the series of events that happened. Did she shoot him in the trailer? Did she come up on him with a flat and then shoot him and then leave? And he was still trying to, get attention from passersby, and it just happened to be coincidentally when Michael was driving by right after that.
I don't know how that would, because she had the horse. So like, if she drove with him along the road and then shot him in the truck right there and then went back to the house, it was much earlier than that she got back to the house because I don't know. Yeah, because we see it during the daytime.
She gets back in the day, so it could be that she went back out to kill him to shoot him
after talking to Michael and giving him the other $5,000.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense.
That whole thing
either.
doesn't sync up. And like, how to piggyback off of that? How the fuck did he find out that they stole the money? Did she tell him, hoping that he would help her get away, and that's why she? So did she? Okay, so maybe this is what happened. She finds out that Wayne's trying to kill her. She goes to him to try to help her get the money and bowl. And when he finds out that she stole the money, he tells her she's going to turn him, or he's going to turn her in, and that's what
maybe the ranch hand had the wanted poster that he'd come across at some point, and the deputies found it when they went out to his trailer after trying to investigate why this guy had been shot and left for dead in the hospital.
How the fuck did he get his hands on the wanted?
Well, he was at a saloon.
He's a ranch hand. They know things.
No, they pass that stuff around.
He was, playing some old timey piano with a brothel upstairs, and there's some horses.
Yeah, that's its own
in.
question. Like, was this an independent series of events where the ranch hand was trying to blackmail Suzanne into giving him some money so he didn't turn him in, and then so she went out to kill him later that night after getting home and finding out her husband's trying to kill her, or was this all something tied together?
Yeah. I don't know. Ambiguous.
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a sloppy script from that, if you think about it, like from there.
And again, like we said, they did trim it down to 98 minutes, so maybe it was like, this had been sitting for a year, and they had lukewarm tests, so maybe they changed some things around, cut some stuff out. It feels like something that doesn't necessarily have to be explained, but when you think about it, then it kind of falls apart a little bit.
It's time to keep track. Here are the final stats.
That leads us over to the Cage Curse Tracker.
Let me open it.
Open it! Open it! Open it! Open it! Open it!
This one was this one was fairly light on the cursing, as some of the last few movies have been, exception of adaptation. There were only 8 total curses in this movie. One of them was hell, one was damn, one was goddamn, 2 were shit, one of them was horse shit. Got the horse shit. And then 3 fucks. I don't remember exactly all of them, but fuck Mexico was one of them. Yeah. Again, it was another one of those ones I thought, like, maybe he doesn't swear, because they kind of had him not swearing in the first act of the movie, and then, again, as things sort of go more sideways, like that same thing happened in Wild at Heart, where he doesn't swear a lot until the latter half of the movie, and then he kind of makes up for it.
When he turns from Elvis to Sailor Ripley over the course of the movie.
Yeah, but...
Drops his persona, Mm-hmm. We've seen that a lot, where it's kind of ratcheted up towards the third act, which is a good writing style of, like, let's make this character kind of morally sound at the beginning and not cursing, but then as things go off the rails and they lose control, then they start cursing. Is
another one that happens.
Yeah, The Rock,
yeah, he plays that a lot, I think. So yeah, that is a total
Seuss's
of 8.
Butthole.
We're up to 709 total curses by my count, which is 100% accurate.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be 100% accurate at this point.
I'm doing my best.
What are we at? This is 40, 43, 44?
44.
44 films, okay.
Yeah.
47 episodes, 44 films.
44 films. Yeah.
Sometimes I just get so wrapped up into the movie, too, that I may have just not caught a line, here or there. But I try to do my damnedest to catch it.
And you do a damn good job.
Thank you.
Runtime. This was on the lower end, 98 minutes. Like we said, great pacing, great high and tight, kind of trimmed a lot of the fat out of this. But it was the same length as Deadfall, so, sometimes 98 minutes works for...
Yeah. There's just a difference there. You can just compare those two.
Yeah. And Grand Isle. Grand Isle was like 97 minutes, so... Grand Isle, they just dropped the entire third act and just pretended that everything was wrapped up without us actually getting a conclusion.
Oh, I was hoping there was going to be some joke in here about, Ossifer, could you help me shoot my cat out of the tree, please?
Nudity. None. This was an R-rated film, but that's mostly for language and violence. So I'll just move on until we hit some nudity. There's a lot of nudity in the next film, which I guess we have to count, even though Cage is kind of not in it, but he is in it. So I don't know. It still counts.
His hands over the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. State and country tracker. This is Wyoming officially, which we unofficially had it in the old way, but we were like, it was like because the mercantile said there certainly ain't Wyoming or whatever.
Yeah.
So we weren't sure. So that is the second time that we've been to Wyoming. First time officially, which that's a grand total of 25 total states.
Yeah, we're halfway there.
Halfway. Budget versus gross, $7 million budget, made $2.5 million, which is a substantial loss. Which brings our grand total up. Like these numbers are just starting to sound like phone numbers at this point. $1.323.5 billion budget, and Nick has grossed $2.946.8 billion.
That's crazy.
It's just nuts. I really wonder where we're going to end up on that number after we complete his 4,000 films that it's like he just cranks out a new every season. We're like finishing a batch,
does like
and he's got like
more movies.
10 more movies. It's crazy.
Well, he says he's close to retirement, so
that's what he says, but that's not going to happen.
He might slow down. I don't know if
he might slow down. Yeah,
retire.
Maybe he'll do 3 movies a year instead of 7. As far as our top grossing films is towards the bottom, of course. Interestingly, sandwiched right in between Pig and Joe, which are 2 other really great indie films that didn't really perform at the box office, but are nevertheless some of his best work.
Yeah,
but $2.5 million. Yeah, right above Joe, which made 2.4, and right below Pig, which made 3.8. Ratings. This was our 24th R-rated film. Far and away the leader at this point, which leads us over to the Cage kill tracker.
Again, super easy because he's not the one that finished off Lyle. So 0 kills for Mr. Cage on this one.
Kind of crazy that he wasn't responsible for anybody's death.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to what we talked about. Like this, he's supposed to be a good character that you're rooting for. So they took the kill away from him and gave it to her instead. So that's 0 for this. So we're still sitting at 201 unofficially for our kill tracker.
201 kills.
Yeah, it's crazy. And most of those I think came from Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Which God only knows how many
actual
deaths were in that, because that scene was atrocious. But and then as far as the death tracker goes, he survived this one, so we're still at 13, which is crazy because we had a hot run there for a minute where it seemed like he was dying in every film. So yeah, still 13 out of the you said 44 films that we did.
44.
Where does this masterpiece fall? Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
All right, that leads us over to the most important question. Vince, forever, for some reason, first. Where does Red Rock West from 1993 rate on your Cageometer?
Ooh, so for film, I'll give it a 7. Like I said before, I feel like this is very reminiscent of the time it came out. For me, it just feels like those early 90s to mid 90s movies where it's like a whodunit thriller. Now knowing a little bit more about the film, I definitely can understand why there were some parts that seemed a little stale to me. They probably weren't doing a lot of retakes or giving them an option to do another take on scenes. So at some points, some of the dialogue or the performances seemed a little stale. It's probably because they were just like, let's move on. Because back then they were shooting on film. So to keep budget down, you got to move and hustle. But overall, I thought the story, it's a typical story, nothing too great about it. But I do like the fact that they kept it tight and the tension. They did a really good job at building tension into the movie and making it fit as it was going along. It never seemed shoehorned, other than the papers part like that. But then that could be explained, like they're hurrying and they're not thinking about it. And how many times have you been in a panic where you're trying to clean, you're trying to like get away with doing something, especially when we were kids, right? You don't always think about putting everything back perfect. So I can forgive that sin. I liked the performances. I really liked Wayne's character development throughout. He comes off as like kind of like this remorseful husband who's killing his wife. You don't know why he wants to kill her, to then trying to be like this badass. And then the moment that deputy gets shot in the head, that all dissolves. And you see this is just a normal man who's now way out of his league. And then he's got to try to figure his way out of the situation he's in. Even to the point where that standoff at the end between him and Lyle, he's like shaking, like he's physically shaking, and he's way out of his fucking element. And I really like that they didn't have like, they had this guy develop, even though you don't really get that a lot, or you didn't expect it, and you see like his true character by the end of it. I really like the fact that the cops weren't fucking idiots and that they were piecing it together. Dennis Hopper, right? So, and then I think Suzanne's character was an interesting take on it too. She comes off as powerless, but by the end of it you realize that she's most likely the one that orchestrated the whole theft in the beginning. Like she encouraged Wayne to steal, or Kevin, whatever his fucking name is, to steal the money, right? Yeah. So I like that there was character development, and you actually felt like there was a backstory to these characters and they weren't just two-dimensional. Acting wise for Nick, 7. I mean, it was like we said, there's a couple moments where he goes over the top and gets cagey, but throughout the rest of the film, I felt like he was pretty even keel, and I think he did a good job at portraying the dilemma that his character felt when it came to making decisions between right and wrong. I thought he did a pretty good job at conveying that. Like we'll always say, he's a great physical actor, and he gives that off in his expressions and his body language. But I mean, it's nothing to write home about. It's not a great performance. It's not a terrible performance. It was like a middle of the road. So I'll give him a 7, because I feel anything less would be too harsh. Anything higher would be me just sucking Nick's little Nicky, if you will. So 7's across the board. Fun film to watch.
Yeah. All right, Nigel, where does Red Rock West rate on your Cageometer?
Well, we kind of said it at the start of that. This is kind of one of those hidden gems that I think will be every season we've had kind of one that comes out as a hidden gem. I think it was like Mandy and then The Trust, and I think this will be this one for this season, unless something really comes out of left field. But this one's it's a good movie. I was really surprised, especially because I'd never heard of it before this. And like we said, it's really hard to find a watchable version of it. So I don't think a lot of people have heard of it either, let alone seen it. But yeah, it was a good thriller. I said the pacing was great. I was always engaged in what was going on. The story did feel like a natural progression of events. We've seen bad scripts where shit just happens in the script and it's like they just need this to happen, so this is what happens. And like this had that, but it was all grounded in mostly reality. Like it felt like realistic twists and turns that would happen as a result of the story. With some questionable stuff like the safe paper and why the hell Lyle decides to just floor it into a train, but again, it ramps the scene up. So it's like, well, you didn't see that coming, and it made things expecting. So, the performances were good. So I give this one an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's like a must watch, but I think it's a pretty good one to see if you can find a version of it to watch. I do recommend it. I think it's a good movie that most people may have missed.
Good if thriller. You can find it, it's a great, it's pretty hard to find though for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a good blending of like Western and neo-noir and 90s thriller style and mystery. So it's a pretty good. I'm surprised we haven't heard of, or I haven't heard of. What's the director's name again?
John Dahl.
John Dahl.
Yeah, it's probably I haven't heard. I'd never heard of John Dahl before, and kind of surprised about it. I feel like he should be a bigger name than what he is. based on this film alone.
Did you say that you looked to see if you could find it on streaming somewhere?
Yeah, I couldn't find it,
anywhere.
at least as of recording. I couldn't find it even to rent. I couldn't find it available on a subscription service. I can only find copies on eBay, basically, that are old, either old, like you said, DVDs from probably the mid to late 90s or European region lock Blu-rays. So
It's crazy. It's crazy that, I mean, it's a Nick Cage, Lara Flynn Boyle, Dennis Hopper film. And
critically acclaimed.
Yeah. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you can't find a physical copy anywhere. Or
Like
even streaming.
it just feels like something where whoever has the rights to it just has done nothing with it because it was kind of a box office flop, which is weird. We've had those before, and you can go buy Arsenal right now, or you can go buy Stolen. It's like why is nobody? Maybe there is a rights issue. Like we don't know. Sometimes that happens. We don't know who owns the rights. It's too complicated to try and deal with it, so they just don't bother to sort it out.
And sometimes the people who own the rights die, and then it gets put into some sort of trust, and then yeah.
So maybe somebody will stick it on YouTube one of these days and can see if it'll be available for people.
Yeah.
And then no one will take it down because who the fuck owns it to copyright strike it? But yeah. So yeah, good movie. As far as Cage's performance, I'll give him a 7 as well. I thought that he was pretty good. He's serviceable. He's we've seen him in this role before where he's just kind of an everyman who's a little bit of a badass until you dig deeper into his character and uncover part of it. I do feel like he didn't bring a whole lot to it. Like he could have been swapped with anybody else. You mentioned Dennis Hopper wanted Chris Christopherson to do it. I think I've been trying to picture that as we've talked about it. I'm like, yeah, I think that could work. It would have been a slight change of the character, a little bit older, a little bit more grizzled, would have added more of that Western feel to it. But I think it would have been, could have been a good swap out. So I don't think this is a standout Cage performance, but it's pretty good, serviceable. I won't give him a bad score for it.
Yeah.
I just don't think he did a lot that was overly memorable, aside from a couple of the cagey lines, but it's nothing we haven't seen before or since with him. So I also feel like Lara Flynn Boyle and Dennis Hopper and JT Walsh kind of all shined over him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think their performances were, I think, a bit more memorable than Cage as the leading man. But we do get to spend a lot of time with him as the main character, which is nice. But I think all those other characters kind of are more watchable and did a better job than him. So, it's not a bad performance, not a bad film.
He's kind of like the audience insert, really, in this film.
Yeah. And I like that. It's not an exactly stranger in a strange land story, but it's kind of stranger in strange circumstances. You know, I think I've talked about it before. I like that framing for a story. So, but there wasn't really anything he did that was like super standout or, super interesting from the character's point of view.
On my Cageometer, I went right up with Nigel. I had the exact same score as 8 for the film. Like you said, everybody brought something to it. Cage is kind of just the everyman, just the standard, like I said, like the audience insert, just so we can have somebody to put, our place in this crazy mishmash of insanity into, and just watching him just slowly make one mistake after another that snowballs into this crazy thing. But yeah, for the acting, like you said, I feel like Lara Flynn Boyle and Dennis Hopper and JT Walsh kind of outshined him and really brought something amazing to it. All three of them. I wish Lara Flynn Boyle would have done more films, but I feel like she got kind of, I don't know, she weirdly became like a tabloid darling for some reason, and now they just make fun of her in the tabloids all the time for being old, which is really sad. But then JT Walsh, I've always loved that guy. He always manages to be memorable, if not kind of like you end up hating him in the roles that he does. And that's a testament to how great he is as an actor. And it's so sad that he died so young. I think he was only like 54 or something like that, 52. Don't smoke, kids. But yeah, and then I felt like going down the list, the cinematography was beautiful throughout. The graveyard at the end was a little, I don't know,
a little jarring.
It felt a little, like a
Universal
Halloween
horror movie.
Halloween set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music was great. Brought something to it, but didn't detract from it. The editing, like we said, there are a couple things that are kind of confusing, but for the most part, the pacing was great. I felt like it was very well paced. I mean, 98 minutes. And there's a lot that's going on, even though it's kind of a simple story. There's a lot of pieces that have to fall in place for this finale to happen. But overall, I thought it's a great movie. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I just remembered it being really good. And I was afraid I was going to watch it and not like it as much as I did back in the 90s, I guess, when the last time I saw it. But holds up. I think it holds up really well. Kind of has like a Coen Brothers, but David Lynch feel to it. And like Vince said, it's a product of the 90s. Like there were so many movies that kind of like had this look and feel to them. But it does a really good job of it. So great movie. 8 out of 10. It's not the best movie we've ever watched, but it's definitely one I would recommend. For sure. For Cage, same thing. I gave him a 7, like you guys did. Didn't really bring a whole lot to it, but he definitely didn't detract from it. He's a great everyman in this, which, at this point in his career, he hadn't played a whole lot of everyman.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe this was really good acting out of Cage because he managed to restrain himself and not be, Peter Lowe from Vampire's Kiss or Sailor Ripley or his character from Moonstruck or Raising Arizona. Like he's very far from those characters in this movie. Or his fucking character
Charlie
from Peggy Sue Got Married. Holy shit. So, maybe we should be rating him higher for restraining himself, but had some great cagey moments. Even though they were few and far between, they were very memorable, especially the fuck Mexico moments.
I want that as a ringtone.
So good. But yeah, nothing crazy, but still great acting, overall. 7. Yeah. C. Got a C.
Here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. These are the cagiest moments of the film.
The house! Not listening to me. Your friend, the ranch hand, he's been shot!
Michael, I'm really sorry. You were right. We shouldn't have come back here.
What do you say we put a cap on the horse shit and figure a way out of this? Okay?
It's another Saturday night down in San Antonio. I'm free from the Riverwalk to the Alamo. I've checked out all our hacks.
You think you're better than me, don't you? Why don't you just blow me? Oh, you think...
That's it for this episode of One Cage at a Time. As always, be sure to drop us an email at onecagepodcast@gmail.com to let us know if we missed anything, or hit us up with suggestions to improve the show, comments, compliments, or simply to gush about the legend that is Nicolas Cage. In our next episode, we'll be doing something a little bit different than we've done in the past. We'll be watching Nicolas Cage's directorial debut, and as of now, his only directing effort in his career. 3 guesses as to why this was the only thing he's ever directed. But the movie's called Sunny from 2002. It was the same year as Adaptation.
Wow.
I mean, there are characters that give some really great cagey moments. So I'm sure I just could imagine him giving the direction behind the scenes. Don't worry, though. Nick does appear in the film and is exactly the type of character you'd hope he'd play if he had complete creative control. It's the fucking cartoon character, basically.
The guy from Never on Tuesday.
Basically, yeah.
That's what I would want.
A gay version of his character from Never on Tuesday and mixed with some of his other crazy, zany-ass fucking weirdo characters he's played over the years. Sonny stars current persona non grata James Franco as a former gigolo named Sonny Phillips, who, after briefly serving in the Army, heads home to Nick's favorite place to make movies, New Orleans, where Sonny tries to leave his old life behind but is slowly pulled back into the life of a male prostitute. Nick Cage directing a movie starring James Franco where he plays a male prostitute. You do the math of... It's an interesting, very interesting film. I can't wait to talk about it, honestly. Make sure to check it out wherever fine films are sold or on your streaming service of choice if it's available. I don't know. Red Rock West wasn't
Peacock,
available
apparently.
Oh, cool. If you're watching The Office, then you switch over to Sunny.
Yeah. I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah. Until then, we'll say goodbye the way we do each and every episode with our Nicolas Cage quote of the film.
He must have moved it. We can find it, Michael. We can be together. We can go to Mexico.
Fuck Mexico!
Thanks for listening to One Cage at a Time. Visit us online at onecageatatime.com or follow us on the social media platform of your choice for more Nicolas Cage goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you really like the show, become a member of our Patreon where you can download unedited and ad-free episodes, as well as listen to our follow-up show, Back Into the Cage, where we re-examine each movie to discuss what we missed the first time around, answer listener questions, and wax poetic about the man, the myth, the legend that is Nicolas Cage.